Hola, mi familia. Hello, my family. I'm the Rambling Wanderer, Paul Doucette. Welcome to another edition of Keeping It Real. Now, I have quite an interesting guest for you in this episode. She's known as the Star Traveler, Elena. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I've got a bit of nervousness as part of my process of developing myself is facing the fear of public speaking and communicating my most deepest perspectives and awareness. So, all going with the flow and evolving.
Same here.
So I understand that you have a career essentially that was involved in the secret space program. Now, for the first part, I'd like to focus in on the star traveling aspects, your adventures, your experiences, because I find that a lot of people within the awakening community are really served by hearing about the multidimensional paradigm that we exist within. It really helps people wrap their mind around and acclimate to the sense of becoming a galactic civilization, by becoming more aware of our neighbors.
Yeah, I my contacts with benevolent ETs started last December 2014. Um, I actually underwent a complete psychological paradigm shift and health shift. And I began to sense that there's something bigger to this world, that I was traveling between different dimensions, going outside the third to the fourth, the fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, and higher, depending on the galactic beings that I would be visiting out in space on different planets and on spaceships. So it's really going outside my body. My physical body stays on the planet, but my light being essence, which is another higher aspect of my higher dimensional soul, goes out into space and visits these beings and interacts with them. And it's for the purpose of disclosure, actually, bringing back information to share with the people of Earth. My experience with meeting these beings and what information they impart to me. And the most recent information I've been getting is that the planet is going through a huge evolutionary shift from the third dimension to the fourth and the fifth. And people are starting to awaken because of that. They are literally feeling the shift. They might not know what it is, but it's happening on the planet. So many of the ET beings, the benevolents who are here, are measuring timelines right now and just anchoring that and keeping it stable so this planet can do its shift in a positive vibration that is for the highest good of everyone and the planet itself and the space that we're in right now. So that's what the ETs are doing. There's also intervention fleets. So for anyone who's being targeted by negative forces, these intervention fleets are here for you to help you, so the negatives cannot interfere with your awakening process, your evolution on the planet. So you can continue to do your light worker duties, your light warrior duties. And these intervention fleets are intergalactic beings that are part of your star families that are watching over you and helping you on your evolutionary process. They don't interfere on the physical level. They are here on the etheric level, the spiritual level for our evolution, and they help us out to anchor and ground positive energies for us and the planet. And so they're watching and they're helping as best as they can. I've also been out in space recently, and I've seen this new paradigm shift where all of our space is evolving in the Milky Way galaxy and even parts of the Andromeda galaxy. The space itself is literally expanding and shifting in its molecules. And basically, it is expanding outward and bringing in new energy forms. You might call it wave X. You might call it moving into the Photon Belt, whatever sounds familiar. So that's what's happening. And that energy is coming in come September through October and end of this year. to bring real changes to the planet, to literally begin fourth and fifth dimensional paradigm shift. So we're going to go outside the third dimension and feel more the energies of the fourth and fifth. So that's what's going on lately, that I've been talking to my ET contacts from the L race, which have an orbiting ship around Earth. That ship has been here for 13,000 years. It's called the Akashen. And I've been talking to one of my contacts. Her name is Elena. She is a 10-foot being. She's part Palladian and mostly L. And I asked her an interesting question. Going back, does it matter who's elected where or when in the States or Canada? She said, no, it does not, because the energy shift will do what it will do and take out the old paradigm of government and bring in something better. So it doesn't matter who's elected where or when, or who's doing what or why right now, because the energy shift, that can't be stopped. It's coming. And 2016 is the year of illumination and the year of these beginning changes that are happening on the planet and evolution. So that's what I've been doing with the ETs. And I've been posting many different presentations about this and my experiences in the secret space program, because I've been wanting these memories to come back to me as it's part of my evolution, to remember and integrate this stuff of what I've done, basically. So that's where I'm at with the ET contacts and memory recall and stuff that's going on the planet right now.
Now, when you say you travel, are you traveling in what we know as the astral or etheric body, or are you fully embodying the light body, which is what we consider in the spiritual community a higher body, so to speak?
I'm fully embodying the higher body, where all of my essence and soul is integrated into that light body. The human body stays on Earth. The human soul aspect stays on Earth. And the higher dimensional aspect that embodies the light body goes off planet, and it has its own life force energy that's fully integrated in it as a full higher dimensional soul with all of its abilities intact. Psychic abilities, being able to travel from point A to point B without needing a starship to do it. It's basically this blue form that I have of a woman wearing a bluish white dress, and she travels around and makes contact with the ETs.
Now, would you say you have conscious recollection of this occurring at any one moment, or would you say it's sort of a mixture of being aware of it and unconscious? It's simply a natural process occurring, and you could simply be going about your business here in your physical form?
Well, most of the time I'm going about my usual physical business on the planet, but I'm also traveling outside the planet, and I could be awake or I could be asleep doing this, and I have full memory recollection of what's going on to me, with me, and to me when I'm doing this work off planet. So I wouldn't say it's unconscious. It's always present with me, what I'm doing and where I'm going out in space, or what I'm remote viewing on the planet. It's gone beyond the astral travel. I do a lot of remote viewing as well, and that's outside my light body. That's me as a human present on the Earth and doing remote viewing. And I can travel to other planets like that as well, just through the remote viewing. That's sort of astral travel, but it's called more biolocation, where you project your human soul outside of yourself and you go and look at things around Mars, here on Earth, close by in the solar system. So that's remote viewing. Astral travel is when you're still sort of connected with your human self, your human soul that's in your body, but you're sort of outside your body as well. But you're still connected with the cord to your human soul level. I've gone beyond that, where I'm fully engaged in what I'm doing in the light body outside the Earth. And my human body just rests when that's going on. So it's safe in its chair, in its bed, wherever it is, it's quite safe. And I could be doing this for hours on end, and when I'm done, I fully reintegrate into the human body and I'm back on Earth with full memories of what I was doing.
Do you have experiences where you'll leave the body and because of our 3D concept of time, you'll have experiences with different beings in different worlds, and you'll find that you come back and you've spent, let's say, a month out there, but it's only been a few hours here?
Um, it's more like a few weeks out there and maybe a couple of hours here. It's never months. Um, it depends on where I go and who I'm in contact with. For some, time is spanning quicker out there. And for other ET beings, it's almost the same as here. So it depends on which dimension I'm at, because I travel in many different dimensions, from the fifth to the eighth and sometimes higher. It depends on what type of ET species I'm visiting or which part of the universe I'm in. Sometimes it feels like time out there is spinning really fast, really fast. And when I come down back here, it's a lot more slower, almost like it kind of slows down a lot. So that's the real difference I feel when I come back to Earth. Out there in space, everything is faster than here. But I don't feel like I've been gone for months or even a year. It feels like I've been only gone for like a few hours. So, and I do things quickly. For me, when I'm out there in space, there's no concept of time. It just flows really. So when you come back down to Earth, then you feel, okay, it's back to the measuring clock.
Yeah, I
Because
find
time
that
is fluid.
interesting. Yeah, I know. I find it so interesting how as we're shifting into the 4D, 5D paradigm, we all say that, oh, time is speeding up, and it's so funny to notice how time is like a social construct. It's a social agreement, and we're sort of letting go of that agreement at this point and aligning to the faster vibrational way of expression, which the most lucid expression I've come across that explains this way of living is through Bashar in his teaching that time goes away and you simply there's no more schedule. You function where you wake up, you feel you need to do something, you go do it. You could be doing a job, tending to maintenance of our infrastructure, anything like that. And all of a sudden there'll be other people there doing it with you as well, and you'll be working as a team. It's incredible to hear about that and start to try to tune into it and conceptualize it and understand that time is dissolving. We are going into what we would consider a no time, and we're just going to learn to flow in it. So there's no necessity to focus on what time is it. I got to go here. I got to go there. You're just completely in your element, in your moment. What do you feel like doing right now? What's your greatest joy? Go do that. That's what time it is. It's time for joy. So I really love how
Exactly.
simple that is.
Exactly. I don't wear a watch anymore. I haven't for 2 years. Usually when I wake up in the morning, like at 10, I don't have an alarm clock going off. I just wake up. I automatically, in my cellular level, I know every day, oh, okay, it's time to wake up. I don't need an alarm to jar me into awakening. I can do it naturally. So it's like an internal biological rhythm, internal clock that knows when to wake up. It doesn't depend on looking on my cell phone for the time, what day it is, what year it is. It doesn't depend on me looking at a watch every 5 minutes, because that just slows me down. I've begun to internally know when I'm supposed to go where and when without relying on a watch or my cell phone for the time or the date stamp. So it flows naturally for me, organically. And I find my day goes much more faster that way when I'm not looking at the time. Whatever I'm doing, whether it's work, whether it's joy, passion, it just flows beautifully when I don't look at the clock and like count every second, every minute of when is this over? How soon can I go somewhere? I just let it flow, and it's my greatest passion, my greatest joy, just to let it flow naturally and experience it and enjoy it while I'm at it, whatever I'm doing, whether it's work, whether it's, photography, whether it's an interview. it's a joy. It's a blessing, and it's a joy to experience and learn whatever I'm doing.
It's so nice that we get to share this expression and show humanity in this transition. This is what we're going into. This is evolution. This is the joy of it. You know, we don't need to be in resistance to the changes. We don't need to focus so much on the nitty-gritty and the details. Part of what I've been experiencing recently is shifts are happening, but instead of going back into that programmed mindset of, oh my God, this negative thing is going to happen, this bad thing is going to happen, or how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? What's going to happen in a few months? It's getting to a point where it's just in every moment, I got what I need. It's all good. Tomorrow's not here yet. And yet it just works. Like, you'll be like, oh my God, I need money, and then you just let go of that. You're not in that flow anymore. And the next day, money comes. And you're like, okay, I can eat now. That's cool. That
Yeah,
to me is the flow and what we're
yeah,
going into.
yeah. And we are creator beings, so we can physically manifest what we need to live. Money is just paper. It's being printed all the time, and it exchanges hands all the time. There's different fingerprints on money depending on who had it. So it's really just a survival mechanism. It's not a spiritual energy force that you depend on for your life. You depend on yourself and who you are and what you're creating as a being to manifest money. Money is not your manifester. You manifest it, not it manifests you. So that's something I've been learning for the last year and a half. I have enough to live, and I'm fine with that. I have as much as I'm manifesting for what I need, but I don't say, "Oh my God, I don't have enough money." I don't do that because money is paper and it's printed. Um, it's not my manifester. It doesn't control me or control who I am, and I manifest what I want in my life, what is important to me, and through my abilities, through my internal energy force that's within me, my heart, my soul. That's what manifests what happens in my reality, not money. I don't let it control me.
That's a beautiful understanding to have because when you get it, like I'm at a point now when I see numbers on a screen, like if you're doing banking or something, and you see they're just numbers on a screen, or if you're holding a piece of paper, or now they're making money out of like polymer plastics. I just kind of look at these things and laugh, like, okay, I'm gonna go hand this piece of paper to somebody and get some food because I'm hungry. Like you just let go of the concept of it and understand that you yourself are the value. And what I've come to comprehend further now is as we're going into this transition and living in what we call a galactic civilization, we are the resource, we're the energy, we're the value. When you understand your value, money is funny at that point. And then you understand that we're the resource. If you need something, you find the people that have the capacity to accomplish that in line with you and parallel to you. If you want to do something, you go within yourself and find the resource within you to figure out how can I accomplish my intended goal. And slowly you get into a point where money doesn't even come into it anymore. You're just interacting with a community of people saying, well, I'd like to do this. Would you like to do it with me? Okay, let's go do it. Let's just get the necessities, get the resources, and just move forward. And we're beginning to learn how to do that more and more, especially because of the shifting in the financial system, which is enabling people, as I perceive it, instead of focusing on, oh my God, the financial system is going bad, it's enabling you to take your power back and say, well, the money is not the power, you're the power. Don't worry about the money.
Yeah, I think in my younger years, when I used to count money more and it was more important to me, it taught me how to be responsible and how to keep a balance in my life. It really teaches you responsibility. Don't spend more than you have, like that. It teaches responsibility, but that's as much as what I think it really does. It's a value of learning responsibility and balance, so you're not stressed out. You have enough to survive, you have enough to live comfortably, but you don't need to be a gazillionaire or a billionaire or the richest person to feel happy and loved. Money won't give you that. It's how you balance your life that gives you that aspect of happiness and love. So the only thing money taught me is responsibility and how to be responsible for myself in my younger years, how to keep a good budget. That's all it did. It taught me to be balanced in who I am as a person. I think that's the lesson I learned from money. That was my lesson. So I'm responsible for who I am as myself, for what I do in this world, and to try to help others. And not through the money, but through other aspects of volunteering, of spending time with people who are like-minded for projects, for videos, being out in the community, raising awareness for what I believe in, and sharing stuff with people, information, knowledge, whatever resources I have, I share it. I don't believe in just hoarding it for myself, the information that I have about what's going on. About disclosure, the grassroots community, I share what I have. I don't keep it to myself.
Well, folks, that's your cue to start following your passion and joy. It's pretty hard at first, because of the beliefs that we carry, the programming, but the more that you dissolve that and transmute that within yourself, the more it flows, the easier it is to function, because essentially we're maturing. We're going through, a growing up phase as a culture, as a species, as a civilization. We're just becoming adults now. So once you find your flow and your rhythm, you step into that. Life is so much more pleasant than it ever could have been. And I think that's
Exactly.
the teachings that so many of us have to give in our examples by just living our lives as we are.
Exactly. I love information. I love processing information, acquiring it, sharing it. That's why I work in a research place where information is exchanged freely and people can get a community card for free and borrow materials where I work. So to me, that's amazing. You don't have to pay for a card to borrow a book. Anyone from the community can walk into the research establishment and borrow a material for free. I find that is a good way of allowing people to learn, and it doesn't cost them to learn. So we have that as a freedom, and I think we should continue having that freedom to openly learn and exchange information, and that's going to be even more open out in the future as we continue to grow and evolve. Just as an example.
Yeah, with everybody with internet and smartphones, like for me, I re-educated myself through internet, through just research and study on material that's freely available, that's easily accessible. You just type in a search term and you've got many different avenues to look through. So, I mean, I left school at the age of 14 and just ended up in construction and was just sort of lost in that. And then at some point, through whatever circumstances I've lived through, I just came to a point where I asked a question, and that was all. That was it. I asked it one question: Is Atlantis real? And I searched that. I just typed in Google, "Is Atlantis real?" or "What's Atlantis about?" And that took me through some very deep metaphysical information and historical information, and opened up my brain, and was just like, "What? What is all this?" And I had to just go through a several-year process of literally re-educating what is going on this planet. What am I? How do I function? How does this universe function? Um, and that's, to me, the most important and vital point in the evolution, being able to share that information with people. Because it took me 7 years to get to a certain point of awareness of what was going on and being able to put the pieces together. But we've got younger generations coming in, and even older generations, and the people in their skin suits that are waking up. And we can help fast track their awakening by simply being available to share the information freely, openly, in a balanced manner, so that we can just tune into them, empathically assist on their level of consciousness, and just get them through it as fast as possible and get them out there living their life path, which is, the overall what is changing the system. It's the individual taking their individuality back, being empowered, and just following their joy, their interest in being and doing it. And that in itself is what's causing the dissolution of our current, what I call the slavery system, that very tight-knit structure in place that's actually causing too much limitation. We're not even able to breathe mainly in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, for me it was an eye-opening experience when I started first having contact with the Andromeda Council. I'm not a representative for them. I'm just a person having an experience meeting them and who they are and what they represent as a benevolent ET species. And they said to me, Ileana, that's my soul name, Ileana, create a website and start sharing with people the true knowledge of this planet. And one of the first things I had posted was the history of Atlantis and crystals in this huge document. And they said to me, put all of this information in one website and call it Messages from a Star Traveler. And put the information that has the highest vibrational resonance of speaking the truth that you could find out there on the internet, on the sources that speak the truth about Earth history, about what's going on right now. So that's what I did, and it's now over 100 and something pages, and I did it in 5 months. They helped to fast track the flow of time to make it possible. And then they said the next project is for you to start doing YouTube shows, interviewing people, and also doing presentations, creating your own presentations with information from the internet, images and information to help put universal knowledge out there. Because the internet is an open source library, basically, for disclosure of past history, even future history and present history. It's all out there in the open for people to find. If you know what you're looking for, you'll find your truth using your own intuition and discernment. So that was my beginning experience of doing disclosure by the advice that the Andromeda Council gave me. They helped me to really keep a stable flow of energy going to do all of this work. In what would have taken me 2 years to do it on my own, only took 5 months to begin the work with their help.
That's so wonderful that we have the Star Family assistance that we do. Because generally speaking, we are a more young species in physical form. And because of our genetic encodings and our soul aspects, we're actually pretty wise old souls, but we don't remember that. So we've got our star families that have lived in civilizations that are millions of years old, that have attained a level of advancement, and by them sharing information with us, it's actually causing us to remember our soul incarnations on these different worlds with these people, with our families. And that's what's enabling us essentially to fast track our development. Not only can we develop spiritually very rapidly, but we can combine the technology and the ways of social interaction to create a solid foundation of what's considered an advanced civilization. I mean, what we're experiencing from just, let's say, 2012 to now in the public arena, as I call it, compared to the behind the scenes. I'm speaking to you now. I've simply connected with you because you've made yourself available and I asked you, would you like to communicate? And yet, years ago, it would have been difficult to come across people like yourself that were in the open, willing to discuss these matters because of the current situation on the planet, the level of the energy, the level of the interference. So it's never been easier now to make these connections, get this information out,
Yeah,
and just tap into our soul essence.
It's much easier now. A few years ago, I wouldn't have been ready for this because I was only half awakened and I didn't even know how to operate a webcam and a microphone to make this interview possible. But I've learned, I've self-taught myself to do this stuff because I want open-minded, transparent communication in these interviews to make this happen. So I didn't go to school to learn videography. I just did it on my own because it's a passion for me. And I'm not afraid to share the information. Like visiting the Andromeda Council, touring their biosphere ships and some of their planets, it it helped me to create presentations about who these beings are and what they stand for and what they do out in the galaxy, out in the Andromeda galaxy, and here in the Milky Way galaxy. They're friends of mine. I'm not formally aligned with them. They're just friends who I'm visiting, old friends I've reconnected with. Yes, they're higher dimensional beings. To me, they're just friends. They're beautiful souls who I energetically am in alignment with. They've taught me so much. They've they've asked me do some presentations about who we are and what we do and why we're here. So I've done that to just basically show their way of life, the best images that I could find on the internet that represent their existence. And they have multiple levels of existence on their biosphere ships, from third dimension all the way to ninth. So they have these different decks on their ships, the biosphere ships. So they have multi-dimensional beings living on those spheres. So it's not just one dimension. They share dimensions on their planetoid biospheres. So that's quite diverse in the range of life that's there and how they learn and coexist with each other. In peace. They don't fight amongst each other. It's
That's
peaceful.
definitely a good example for humanity right now because we've got so many different genetic interactions going on within us as individuals. I mean, I've discovered that I've got several or more, connections to different races. And essentially, we're having to learn how to get along. I mean, we're all wearing the same skin suit, but we've all got different backgrounds. You've got the Draconians involved. You've got the Pleiadians. You've got the Arcturians. You've got Orion groups. You've got the Zeta group. There's so many groups that are genetically intermixed within the human species, so that one individual is completely distinct genetically to the next. And we're tapping into that energy and that level of consciousness and utilizing our different star races' capabilities within our human expression. So we're having to learn how do I get along with somebody that's got more of a reptilian energy to them, and yet in my past life I was in a full-on war with these species, and now I'm living on the same planet with them. They're my neighbor. So how do we get along? How do we balance our karma within ourselves from so many different incarnational experiences, and so many of the star races can assist us in understanding that and how to be a bit more diplomatic in our relations.
Yes, and there's also the Andromedans, the Lyrans, the Syrians, the Els. There's so many different ET species, a lot that we already know about and many we don't know that are coming forth. There's also the Girk-Fit-Near Alliance with the Yael, with the Fendorians. There's so many species out there. There's the positive reptilians, so many species that are coming out, and you get to learn a lot of things. And we're starting to know more about Mars. Surprise, it has water and oxygen. And there's an atmosphere on Mars, and there's images of pyramids, face on Mars. There's so much stuff we're learning about Mars that's on the internet. If you know where to look, you can do your own research. And by the information that's there available on the internet, you're like, oh, okay, well, there's still ancient civilizations out on Mars. Sure, it's not openly disclosed, but the clues are there for you to discover what's there on the internet about Mars, the moon, the Earth. It's all out there. You just follow your intuition and follow the clues, and you learn. You awaken and you discover the truth for yourself.
Yeah, honestly, viewers out there, you don't need to focus too much on advancing your psionic capability. Um, what you can do if you really want to tune into this information is just go on YouTube and type in Mars underground civilization or Mars ruins, what have you. Part of my awakening was tuning into the archaeological discoveries just on Earth itself, and there's so much evidence to support. Hello, we're not alone. There's many depictions in ancient ruins of just blatant advanced technology in different species, as well as in written writings that hasn't been completely covered up. And then you go and you look at pictures of craters on the moon, and you're seeing blatant spires and glass domes. And then you look at Mars, and there's imagery of an entire leveled city where you can see the actual. It's just like our cities. You can see the literal grid, road structure, and setup. You can't deny it when you see it, and you comprehend what you're looking at. It's right in our faces. And the great thing about the disclosure process, it's getting more and more obvious to people.
Yeah, and there's also evidence of a nuclear explosion on Mars because parts of it are scarred. You can literally see the scarred valley, the famous valley point where it looks like some nuclear explosion happened on Mars when Maldek was destroyed, and many of the humanoid species migrated from Maldek and Mars to Earth, where the atmosphere is more cleaner and stable. So you have descendants living on Earth from Maldek that was destroyed and from Mars. We just can't remember that information because millennium have passed, and we've gone through so many different civilization cycles where we've reverted to more ancient times, then more modern times, and back and forth in these cycles. And now we're coming to the technological cycle of trying to figure out who we are and trying to know our galactic history, what really happened. And the grassroots disclosure, for full disclosure, it's coming. I mean, there's going to be disclosure day set. That's a disclosure day for July 8th for each year to see how much disclosure can be disclosed to the people about all this stuff. So that's progress in my view. I see it as progress.
Yeah, the progress is us awakening, assisting our brothers and sisters, our human family, in their awakening, and getting us to a point where we say in unison, in numbers, okay, we'd like disclosure now. Like, essentially, we individually get it on our own path of awakening, but once we come together, we can do the public version of disclosure. Because for me, I'm already convinced. I'm already aware. I've already got my disclosure, and now I want to share it with humanity and get them conscious of it. Because what this really represents is, wait a minute, we've got advanced technologies, we've got families that can assist us in our own state of being and development. We're not just alone. We're not in a dangerous environment. We've got allies. So why don't we start utilizing those technologies and improving our civilization instead of going to work, 60 hours a week and putting gasoline in our cars? I remember years ago I was roofing in Canada, and I'd be at the gas station filling up the gas thing, and the night before I was watching a UFO flying by. So I'd be stood there at the gas pump looking around at everyone laughing with this little inside joke in my head, like, I'm watching UFOs flying around with anti-gravitic technologies and free energy technologies incorporated. And here I am using oil pulled from the earth, filling up my car so I can drive around at low speeds. Like, you know what I mean? It's time now. Come on, folks. Let's get together. It's a lot of fun to start utilizing this consciousness and technologies. There's
Oh,
no need
yeah.
for world starvation and all of these things. Just one piece of technology that I find is really fascinating: replicator. If you were to incorporate replicator technology onto the planet, first of all, nobody would go hungry. Second of all, the false ideology that the world is overpopulated would disappear, because when you look at a map on a satellite imagery at any city, the entire city is surrounded for many, many miles by just farmland. You clear cut everything for like 50-mile radius around an entire city, and it's just for farming. And if you've got replicator technology, you're eliminating the need to destroy the land for farm use, and then you can repurpose the land for people to live, as well as incorporating advanced technologies to create advanced living spaces that are healthy for the human body, where the whole concept of overpopulation would be gone overnight. It would just repurpose all of the farmland on this planet, and there's so much room. The population could go into the trillions, and we'd have comfortable space just on the surface, let alone going into the honeycomb earth with the rest of our brothers and sisters and star families that live in caverns down there. You've got caverns that are the size of Texas down there. You've got underground oceans and such. There's so much space on this planet that we've got so much abundance because of Mother Earth. It's incredible once you tune into that, you can't ignore it. You just see the grandeur and the beauty of where we are and realize we could have heaven on earth tomorrow. We just need to get past the point of, we need to get people conscious of this so that they start demanding to the corporations, wait a minute, Mercedes-Benz, you've got flying anti-gravitic technology and fleets of vehicles created for, let's say, the elite in their underground bunkers, but you're not making it publicly available. Well, I'm not going to buy your products anymore. I'm just Monsanto. I'm not happy with you. You're creating GMO. I'm just going to boycott you. I'm not going to buy your product. You don't have money. You don't have my energy. You cannot continue. You're going to go bankrupt. Part of disclosure is us getting to a point of realization that, hey, we need to demand that these people serve us and us not serve them, and create the products that we require to sustain our lives and be abundant. It's part of it is becoming aware. First of all, the technology does exist. It's been hidden from us for many years. Second of all, we have the capacity as a people to bypass corporations and to create these technologies in our garages. I'm aware of a man named Ralph Ring who was an assistant to an apprentice to Tesla, Nikola Tesla. And in the 70s in the United States, these people, a group of scientists got together and they were creating anti-gravitic craft that you utilized your mind to connect with and travel where you needed. And they were stating that these craft travel to any point on the planet within 15 minutes. So from one point of the planet all the way around it to the farthest point, you're there in 15 minutes. They were making these technologies in basically a garage setup in the 70s and flying them around, and the United States government moved in, or what we call the United States government, really the corporations moved in. They seized everything and they gave them an order stating, if you create these technologies, you will be treasonous under these blah, 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 blah laws, and you need to cease and desist. So basically what we're witnessing as part of the resistance movement on Earth is you do have people that have tapped into their soul memory, and they have access to that advanced technologies when they were living as the Andromedans or the Arcturians, I'm aware, are very advanced in their technological and spiritual capacity. We were these people. We are them in no time in the multidimensional paradigm. So all we need to do is reconnect our DNA, activate it, upgrade, tune into all of this, and there's no stopping us. You can't stop somebody from just being in their garage and getting a bunch of scrap metal together and making their own craft or making their own energy device because they have the awareness and knowledge of it. So part of the disclosure process is that's occurring in the grassroots communities. You've got people like the Keshe Foundation. You've got another one called the QEG that's based off of a Tesla design. There's people out there that are just saying, hey man, I've got the wherewithal to make this stuff. I'm just going to make it. And we're having to just push through the corporate patent office control system and just bypass it and keep getting the information out there to educate the people so that they say, wait a minute, you're making anti-gravity in your garage? I want one of those. So that's the point that we're at in human development. I think it's very exciting to be able to share that information and get people educated about it. Just so that you can, like most people, okay, sure, they're not spiritually aware, so what? Get them interested in free energy, and they'll start demanding it. And that's going to collapse the energy system that we have in place now and just change the world in that one moment.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm aware from my galactic history memories as being an Andromedan star traveler, traveling out in the Andromeda star galaxy. I remember beautiful hover cars that use free energy, that don't use gas, don't use petroleum, don't use diesel. These hover cars just float with anti-gravity energy. And the engines are actually crystalline energy made from crystals that power these hover cars, and 0-point free energy sources. Hover bikes, I remember flying on those, and racing, and it's beautiful. And I used to do this out in the Andromeda star system as the star traveler. So those things exist. Also, recently, I've started getting memories back from the secret space programs, designing the holographic medical pods, how that technology works, and that it can regenerate limbs. It could detox the body to remove cancer cells, to remove cancer completely, to cure psychological diseases as well, like Alzheimer's, MS, remove trauma from the psychological mind standpoint. So this technology, the med beds, the med pods, whatever you choose to call them, they could be also used to put in screen memories and to reprogram your memories. So it's could be used for good or bad, depending on how you program that technology. So there's advanced technological stuff out there that most people don't know about because it's being suppressed by the governments, by the corporations. This technology is literally suppressed from us, but it exists. It's existed for 80 to 100 years already. It's been out there and it's been utilized. So it's just full disclosure, grassroots, public disclosure. It's about bringing all of this to light and to helping the people to know the truth, not parts of the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth about all of this stuff. And the fact that ETs do exist, aliens are out there, they've been visiting us for eons, and they'll continue visiting us. So it's about making that information public in disclosing UFO files. Heck, the X-Files are doing a good job of doing this already, the new series. So it's out on movies, it's out on TV shows. Heck, it's out in commercials. Last year I saw a commercial where a car was basically teleported through a Stargate portal as a gift to Dad by his kids. It was teleported through the portal right to his house. So there's disclosure in commercials, video games, movies, TV series. It's everywhere. It's just, do we pay attention to it? Is it just subtle? How are we taking this information in and processing it? Do we choose to believe it? Or do we think that's just sci-fi fantasy? How we as humans process this is very interesting and important. Because it's information. We're being fed information inadvertently. It's everywhere. Disclosure is everywhere. It's how we choose to find it and interpret that information is what helps us either to become awakened or to still be sleepers and walk in a sleeping mode.
The benefit to the drip drip slow disclosure process, even with an attempt at a partial disclosure process, it's seeding it into the subconscious mind of the general populace. And like I was saying before, even if they're not fully on the ball with all of this awareness and consciousness, they're not too interested per se. Just showing them the technology is enough to get them going. Wait a minute, I want that. Why don't we have that? What's going on? And that's how I perceive the drip drip process is serving us in this manner. It's getting us to a point where you could show somebody an advanced craft and they'd be like, "Oh, I saw that in a video game," and it doesn't blow their mind. It's not like it's completely beyond their comprehension of wrapping their head around and going, "What is that? What is that?" People aren't even like that anymore. I bet you could show. I mean, when I came to Peru, I was initially involved in a project to create a self-sustained community, and we were also going around talking to politicians and people within small towns and showing them these technologies. And they didn't look at us like, "Oh, I'm a dumb jungle person from a tribe in the middle of Peru." They were looking at us like, "Okay, cool. When do I get it? I want it. Are you going to give me that? Because I want that. It'll make my life easier." They did not in one moment doubt it. They just looked us dead in the eye and said, "Okay, when are you getting it here? Give me it." And just teach me how to use it. There you go. I want that. So there's so many people around the world right now that are doing this kind of work, and it's thanks to that drip drip process that people can mentally and emotionally process it in their own way, in their own dream state, and in their own conscious mind, so that when that disclosure date does hit, it isn't going to be a massive shock. People aren't going to be rioting on the streets, freaking out, or going out with pitchforks trying to go after the publicly known cabal members, because the rest are too smart to be, and they're all hiding in Antarctica right now. But I don't perceive that as happening at all, and that's not the energy that I'm anchoring onto this planet. It's not the potential I see that humanity has. We have the awareness now. in a low-lying format to just make it a peaceful transition to say, hey guys, this is what the government's been doing. The Snowden files that came out. There's Anonymous played a huge part in assisting Snowden in getting that information out, and what we saw in terms of the NSA whistleblower testimony was like not even touching the tip of the iceberg. The Snowden information is huge. It's gigantic. There's all information from all aspects of this, what we talk about in disclosure. It's there, and it's just a matter of time before we go, okay, here's the big data dump. You know, it's just like when the public saw the NSA information, a lot of the people were apathetic. A lot of people looked at it like, okay, that's cool. I kind of already knew that. Anything else? So it's not like this is too overwhelming for the general people to ascertain and to get through and to go, okay, let's start living like this instead, because that other way didn't work.
Yeah, and for example, Hillary Clinton is making disclosure actually quite popular. She's running around talking about finding the truth out about UFOs in Area 51 if she's elected president. She's made this a platform gimmick on her campaign trail to get elected because she knows a lot of people want disclosure. So she's using that as a platform to get the word out. Whether if she ever was elected, whether she would do disclosure or not, doesn't really matter. She's setting up a paradigm shift by running around and talking about UFOs on the Jimmy Kimmel show, on news media sources. She's openly flaunting information. Oh, I know this, I know that, I suspect this, I suspect that. Hey, the public deserves to know about it. Whether it's actually true or not that she would, make this an important subject matter to look into as president doesn't really matter. She's just bringing awareness to the public by stepping out and doing this.
Exactly. The foundation is there. I have all faith in my human family that we're just going to get that big data dump. We're just going to take some time to process it. There's a lot of light workers and light warriors, people that are aware enough to sit down with the sphere of influence that they have and to talk people through this process on an emotional, empathic level to say, yes, this is what's happened. This is what's been happening. This is what's going on now. You don't need to panic. Don't worry about it. Everything's taken care of. Not only do we have boots on the ground like myself and many others within this community, we're all the boots on the ground. We're all the resistance. We're all, I work with the Agarthan network through my Pleiadian family in the multidimensional sense and all of these different beings. We are the boots on the ground, those of us that are proponents of the disclosure and sharing in our channel and awareness information. So we're here. We're the support crew. The rest of humanity that needs assistance on an emotional and energetic level, we've got their backs. We'll be the safety net. So there's nothing to really be concerned about or scared about or worried about. Even for the people that are trying to hide certain aspects by creating partial disclosure, even if they were to be completely revealed for who they are, I don't perceive them as being in any threat or danger. I personally don't want to go out and try to club somebody to death with a blunt object because they did horrible things. I'm not really interested. And I believe and firmly feel within myself that the most of humanity, because I live in what you could consider a third world country and I got to experience it truly, most people in this world are in third world countries when you step outside of the Western nation. Most people are living in such poverty and dire situation. They don't care about what bad happened. They know what bad happens. It's right in their faces. There's no illusions about it. Like in North Korea and certain countries like this, they have no illusion. They know what's going on. They know they're slaves. They're subjugated. They don't care about the bad people and they want revenge. Some might do, but most people, you know what? I just want something to eat. You can give me technology that helps me eat and I can take care of my family and know that my children are safe and happy and they can be educated. I don't care about all the bad that happened. Just give me the good. Give me that. I want that. So this is what disclosure is representing to me and what it's bringing forward. And this is definitely the energy and message I really anchor into the grids of this planet and get out to humanity. Let's make this a peaceful transition. Get past your anger and your fear and process that. And there's so many of us out in this community that sit with you and assist you on so many levels, in so many formats. There's something for everybody. There's so many healers now on this planet. I fully, firmly believe that we're there, we're ready. Let's have disclosure. Let's move forward with this.
And it's interesting. The shamans of Peru, the healers of Peru, know how to use plant medicine to heal thyself, to heal themselves and others around them. They don't have to pop pharmaceutical pills to get healthy. They are healthy because they live off of the land. They're not out to, they heal people with plant medicine, with holistic medicine. They're not out to make money from medicine. They're out to help people. And whereas the Western countries, the pharmaceutical companies are the solution. You pop a pill, you feel better for the time, for a little bit, but then you feel sick again and you do it all over again. Pop a pill, go to the hospital, get a drug pumped into you. You feel better, but then you're sick a couple of days later. And then after the cycle, you still feel sick and you realize, wait a second, the pharma companies, the pharmaceuticals aren't helping me. I'm going to look now into holistic medicine, into alternative medicine, into spirituality, to heal thyself with plant medicine, with natural energies, crystals, Reiki, you name it. We got it.
There's
Natural
many
healing.
aware people. You go out into the middle of nowhere where you can't even get there by car. You got to take boats along the big river systems in the jungle here, and you show one of these jungle people a crystal, and they can communicate with it, and they perceive the energy of it immediately, even if they've never come across crystal before in their life. The peoples that held on to the traditions that weren't completely destroyed by the Spanish conquistadors held on to their teachings and brought it forward. And there's people that do ayahuasca in this country, and they know their star family. They visit different planets all the time. You could sit down with a shaman in this country, and they tell you all about it. So there's like in this country, GMO is banned. There's a certain level of consciousness within South America, and I believe it's thanks to the energy of Mother Earth and the fact that in certain regions, like Peru, a lot of her natural areas are untouched. It's very pristine, beautiful jungle, not even like an hour drive from here. I can just go into complete untouched jungle and meditate and connect. Just because of these people living in these environments, they're naturally attuned and multidimensionally present and aware. They know who their star brothers and sisters are. They know what the government and the corporations are about. They see it every day. You've got American corporations that come down to South America, and you've got little villages that are in the middle of nowhere. All of a sudden, an American corporation comes in that's like a charitable organization. Ha ha, that's funny. They set up electricity for these people, like, we're helping you, we'll give you electricity, you're so poor, you need electricity. These people get electricity, and next thing you know, they owe money to the corporation, and they don't have money. They live in the jungle. They live off the land. They hunt, they grow their food, they eat what's in the jungle, they use the plant medicine. They don't have an income. So these corporations go in, they put them into a debt slavery situation, and then they say, wait a minute, you've got oil on your land. Sell it as your land. Oh, you've got gold in that mountain. Sell it as your mountain. Meanwhile, these people grow their food on that mountain. They live off of that mountain. So these people just see it every day of their lives. You can't not see it. There's so many awake and incredible people in this land that are just right on the ball. They're right with us. We're all holding the space for this to occur, and we'd really like to see momentum and change.
Yeah, and more wellness centers, more healing centers, make that more acceptable. So it's not just your everyday traditional hospitals. Offer crystal healing, offer sound healing, vibrational programs, offer alternative medicine, holistic plant medicine. I'd like to see more of that out there. I'd like to see meditation pyramids out there, more of these healing places that are natural and organic, and connecting more with the land, have more land preserves, stuff like that. The way it was before in the Atlantis time, that's how it was. There were healing centers and wellness centers all over Atlantis. Why not get back to those natural grassroots again and free healing services to people where you don't have to pay astronomical amounts of dollars to be healed or to be cured of something? So that's what I'd like to see more of happening.
Yeah, I call it sacred space. It's creating and anchoring sacred space back on the planet. We don't even need to focus on what we call ancient sacred sites. There's a lot of grid hijacking that has occurred, and energy workers and grid workers go out and clear it. But we can create sacred spaces where we are. My room is a sacred space. I got a pyramid behind me. I've got crystals and grids set up everywhere. I'm anchoring the energy to not only assist my development, but I'm assisting the area around me because of the radius of the energy and how far reaching it is. This is what we do as light workers. Something we did when I first came to Peru and I was involved in with a group of people I'm no longer involved with. We had a dodecahedron, a big dodecahedron you could sit within outside of the house that we turned into an office. And we had people coming in and they're meditating in it, and then you've got the locals walking by and they're looking at that like, what are these crazy gringos doing? What is that? And every once in a while you've got the odd person that comes right up into they walk right into your house, they look at you and you go, what is that? What are you doing? What does that do? We had a lot of children from the neighborhood coming into the house and just playing, and we had people teaching them and assisting them and helping them because a lot of kids here, go without schooling, and there's a lot of children, 8, 9 years old. You're seeing kids working on construction sites, and they can't go to school because they have to help their parents lug all of the food that's grown out in the jungle. They bring it in and they sell it in markets here. Um, so it's so easy. Go outside. If you're good with hand tools and carpentry, build a pyramid. Read up on Russian pyramid technology. The Russians have done extensive research on that in the 80s onward. That's publicly known. They've gotten the dimensions so fine-tuned that you can build specified pyramid structures on your house, in front of your house, that will create an abundance of natural energy that will heal your house, your people, your plants, your animals, your neighborhood, everybody around you. That in itself is creating awareness as well, because I think people are ready. We've created the foundation. People aren't going to be balking at certain things like you're all crazy. They're now looking at it like, what is that? That's crazy. How are you so healthy? You're 60 years old. I've met people here in Peru, they're like 60 years old, but they look like they're 30. And I'm looking at them like, how are you doing that? Teach me. I want to do that. I want to look that good when I'm 60. That's awesome. That's not something that's crazy or impossible. I've seen the impossible. I know it's possible. So
Me
just
too.
do that.
Yeah, I have a pyramid of wooden dowels tied with rope in my meditation room. My parents said to me, "What are you doing? You're crazy. Is this really healing? Does this work?" And I said, "Yes. Once I have it set up, sit in it and see how you feel. Just go in and sit and feel the vibrational energies around you, because a pyramid is like a vortex. It brings in energy and it does the healing. Once you build a pyramid, it heals you. You're just sitting in the energy and it heals you. Just a wooden pyramid, 7 inches, just 7 inches high, and it's my pyramid is more like it's the Russian type where it goes like this up. It's there's a special word for it. It's like an obelisk shaped. It's not more the Egyptian type, but it's more obelisk shaped, and it works just as well. And I could fully sit up to my height in it or stand in it and listen to beautiful meditation music and just chill out in it and get healed by it. And I don't have to pop a pill to be energetically healed. The pyramid does it. And then I just cleanse the room, bring in more positive vibrational energy, and my room is beautiful. My healing meditation room is beautiful.
It's so easy. It's mind-boggling. That's the only thing we need to get past is people can't conceive of it. They can't. That's why we need to just show them. I mean, I see YouTube videos all the time. There's a guy on YouTube. He's going around. I'm guessing he's a Reiki practitioner. I'm not too sure about the history of it, but he's going around and he's like, "Hey, put your hand in my hands. Do you feel that?" And people, everyday people are like, "It feels like electricity or it feels like magnets. What is that?" And he's like, "It's energy. It's natural. You all can do it." You see videos of him working with police officers doing it. This is the disclosure movement. This is the grassroots movement that we're all a part of and interconnected into as a community in the spiritual community. This is it. This is all we need to be doing. It's the snowball effect, you know. Let's just keep rolling that snowball downhill, and it's going to keep building steam. Eventually, we will inevitably reach that. disclosure point, we don't need to focus on the negative. If you're at that stage in your development, you need to educate to become aware of it. Okay, fine, but we don't need to focus on it. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to give them their by giving them our focus, we're giving them our energy, and we don't need to do that anymore. Let's just start creating the world we want to live in, and don't worry about the other people, because quite honestly, there are people that are addressing the situation. You not only have like the Andromedan Council and the Silver Legion and the people of Procyon and the people of blah 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 blah. It goes on and on and on. There's that many allies we have in the solar system doing the clearing work and the underground bases work and all of that work that's occurring right now. We're not here to focus on that. We don't need to focus on that. Be who you are as a human being and anchor that as a human expression and just be it. Live your life day to day. Do the things that are natural and fun to you. Build a pyramid, meditate in front of people and have them ask you what are you doing, and then show them and teach them and have the compassion and decency to do that as a human being. We're all family. Let's take care of each other. So just focus on you, focus on your development, go through the process you need to go through. Get yourself to a point where you have the confidence to go out there and just do the work. Whatever it is, free hugs. There's people out there more and more. The free hugs movement is really growing. Where you're just out there sharing good vibes with people. Like, hey, you want a hug? You look miserable as all get out. Give me a hug, damn it. And just open your heart chakra and do that for them. When I walk around Lamas, a small city, I'm just walking around with a Labradorite in my pocket. I work on opening my heart, and I'm just looking at people, looking them dead in the eye, and I'm sharing that energy with them. And I'm just being polite and communicative in my empathic ability, since I don't speak as much Spanish. That's what we're here to do. So let's just get on the ball with that. Let's get off the fence. For every individuated expression, if it wasn't for that expression, we would not be making forward momentum. If we were clones of one another like like we are in the old world, you would never see progress. You would witness stagnation, which is what we've witnessed for so long. If you become your individuated, advanced, and beautiful self, that's it. That's your work. That's what you're here to do. This is the ascension. So don't worry. Let the people that are militarily capable and educated take care of the nasty guys. Those guys are taken care of. You just take care of you, and you take care of your human family. And this, to me, is what I'm witnessing. This is the information that I'm trying to share to people. And just keep getting that out there. Like, just keep spreading the good vibes. Keep spreading the info. Keep educating people. If they're worried about what I call the NWO and all of the people that get caught up in that, how let's educate these people. Why do you keep focusing on the negative and the problem? No solution ever comes from focusing on the problem. You actually have to divert your focus from the problem. Stop giving the cabal, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, your loosh. Stop giving them your focus. That's your energy. Stop giving it to them. And that as well is going to be what speeds up the dissolution process of their system. If you stop feeding them, they're going to starve to death.
Yeah, and if you're feeling something negative, negative unresolved energy around somebody else you're friends with or you're in contact with, talk it out. Do use talking to talk out through what you're feeling. Talk about it. Work it out with the other person. Don't let the negativity fester in you where you feel guilty or ashamed or whatnot, that you didn't resolve this with your friend or your coworker, with somebody you know. Meet together in a safe place and talk about it. As a lot of counselors do talk therapy with their patients. They don't prescribe medication. They actually talk to their clients. Talk therapy helps you figure out what's going on, what's at the root of this. And it lets you let go of that negative energy and focus on the positive. You turn the negative into a positive and you work it out through speech. You actually physically get together and speak to each other and figure it out so it doesn't, grow into something else, grow into conflict. You learn to talk to each other. You learn to come as a community together and to work on things as a unity within a community to help each other. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, eventually you get to a point in your development where you're not even concerned with judgment because it's too much of a drain on my energy. I'm too focused on creating solutions and bringing us forward as a society and maturing to care to judge you. I'm too busy loving myself and doing my own thing and following my own path to be bothered about what you've done or what you're experiencing and look down on it. I just look at everybody in an altruistic form of we're all equal, we're all human family. We truly are one family, we're one. So I don't need to judge you. I can just love you for who you are, and the more that people tune into that, the easier it is for people to open up. And that's part of the lightworker community as well. We're just here holding space. I talk it out with people if they need to, because I'm living in a reality where I don't work anymore. I don't live like that anymore. I'm me, and I'm free, and I'm just going to spend my time assisting people that need somebody to talk to, and do these radio shows and bring on incredible guests and have fun with that and just move forward. It's time now for solutions to come into effect.
Yeah, and I'm in the process where I am just doing my thing, doing disclosure, following my passion, following my happiness. I choose to not hold grudges. I choose to not hold jealousy in my reality. I choose to work for the greater good, to help others and myself to grow as a being and to evolve on this planet and to learn from my experiences, so I don't keep on going in the same cycle of why did this happen to me? That was bad, that was negative. I learn from it and I move on, so I don't dwell on that negativity. I focus on the inner work and the outer work to make it a cohesive, balanced vibration in my living essence, in my living reality. So I'm focused on the good and not the bad. I'm not focused on drama. I'm not focused on who did this to me, who did that, this happened to me, it didn't go well. I choose to learn from the lesson, let it go, and not repeat the same old stuff. I choose to balance it out and live in a peaceful way where I don't hold grudges, or I don't, I'm jealous of you because you did better at something than I did, or you have something that I want. I don't do that. I choose to live a life where I follow my happiness, my passion, my creativity, and just enjoy the beauty of that experience. Enjoy it.
If you desire peace on earth, then be peace. There's a
Exactly.
cool teacher out there. He's being channeled through his one of his human aspects, self Cryon. And I believe Cryon is one of the most advanced spiritual teachers we have available. You can find Cryon's videos on YouTube anywhere. There's people like Cryon Bashar. There's people like Brad Johnson with Adronis, and other people that are more publicly known. But there's also many, many light workers in the background that are also communicating, have a very good insight and mature awareness with the interactions they have with their higher selves. But to me, Cryon is teaching the Buddhist teachings, which is the heart teaching. He's really teaching humanity how about tuning into your emotional self and addressing that, and living in a grounded space. And he's so loving that you can hear his conduit crying while kind of speaking through him, because there's so much passion and emotion in it, because he's truly coming from an involved state of love and just wanting to assist humanity in their understanding. So he's very good to listen to if you want to understand more of the basic state of being, because that's what so many people need help in learning is, well, how do I not be jealous? How do I not be angry and want to hurt this person because of what they did to me? And I find, a lot of this awakening process is the emotional development work and working on the emotional body. There's so many people out there at this point assisting in that. It's easy, you know. Start looking. Just do what I do. I go onto Google, and yeah, I know Google is controlled and they're monitoring me. I just say hello to them and send them love because it's all good. They're going away anyway. So I use Google as a tool. I use it to my advantage, and I'm just like, hey Google, blah 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 blah. Blah. I write up an entire question, and you know what? I get an answer. There's a lot of things in like Yahoo question and answer thingies and blogs. You're never gonna know unless you ask. So you don't need to feel stupid about asking questions. Just get on Google. You're by yourself anyway. Nobody's gonna see what you're asking. So just ask a question. How does this work? How does that work? How do I do this? Oh my God, my washing machine broke out down. How do I fix it? This is where the sovereignty movement comes in self-sufficiency and self-responsibility. There's no excuse anymore. The internet is the biggest university in existence. Um, do your homework, do your research, educate yourself, and you no longer need to rely on the system. It's falling apart anyway. You might as well jump ship now while you've got the chance, while there's still certain things in place so that you can take advantage of it.
Exactly. And I do a lot of self-learning through the internet because I've heard somewhere that the internet, that all information is a living library source of energy that teaches you. So I like do-it-yourself projects, do-it-myself projects. They're fun, and there's a lot of blogs, YouTube videos about how to do it yourself. So for me, I didn't know how to build a pyramid. I had an inkling of how it works. I didn't know how to do it. And it took me 3 weeks to find a good video on how to build a pyramid out of wooden dowels and rope. That's all. No glue, no using nails or a hammer, not precise measurements, just some wood dowels and some rope to build the structure of this pyramid. It was hard to find a video on it because there's not a lot of videos on how to build a wooden pyramid, Native style, Native American style, the teepee thing. But I used that concept with the video that I found and some other written info, and I built a pyramid, did it myself. No nails, no hammer, no glue, just wood and rope. Basic survivalist things that we use out in
I know
nature.
it's so simple and it's so inexpensive. You can be so efficient with what you have and get what you need. That's what I love about communicating and interconnecting with the multidimensional reality, with all of the different people that live out there. They're all coming from the same perspective. They're all looking at us like, why don't you just get off your ass and do it? And it's so hilarious when people finally connect with their guides, or they connect with people that can connect them to their guides, or they start remembering their astral travels and communicating with their different family members. Any genuine being that is an evolved being isn't gonna butter your ass. They're gonna look you straight in the eye and say, hey, dickhead, get off your ass and teach yourself and do something about it. That's your planet. That's your body. It's nobody else's. Why aren't you doing something? Those of us in an evolved state of being do something about it. This is why we're an evolved civilization. So I love the non-sugarcoating that comes from people like that, like Bashar. I've seen some of Bashar's videos, and I have to pause it because I'm too busy rolling on the ground laughing my ass off. Because he's telling you in a very clear and distinct manner, under no uncertain terms, if you don't like that reality, change your focus and switch to another timeline and live in that reality. You have the power. You are the one that has the choice. Do it. And there's so many more and more information like this coming forward where it's like, do it. You want to know, you have the resources available to you. They're right there in front of you. And that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and for me, if I don't like a reality I live in, I just change my time bubble and create my own reality that I am existing in, that my family exists in, that my house holds the energy of. I create my own reality. Okay, people say, what's up with the chemtrails? I'm seeing so many chemtrails in the sky, and yet I'm seeing no chemtrails where I am in British Columbia. Because in my reality, those chemtrails do not exist. The sky is not being sprayed from chemtrails by airplanes. I don't see the chemtrails because they don't exist in my reality, in my little part of British Columbia where I live in Canada. To me, they don't exist, so I don't see them because they're not in my time bubble. They're not in my time space. They're outside of that. So for me, chemtrails are not here. They do not make me sick. The food doesn't make me sick because I eat organic food. I choose not to eat the GMO stuff. That makes me sick. So I don't eat it. I drink spring water. I boil my water so I don't have fluoride in my water. I choose to live a healthy lifestyle so I'm not made sick by GMO food or pesticide-ridden food or chemically altered food or water or drinks. I just live healthy. That's my reality. That's how I live. And everybody could live how they want to live in the reality that they make for themselves. It's up to you to choose how you do it and what you do with it. Because you're building that reality for yourself, for your family, for your home, for your work, for your teaching, your schooling. You are creating what you want to create and what you want to see in physicality.
Now, you've got a lot of experiences astral traveling and such, and it gives you a serious amount of insight in terms of, I would say, how the multidimensional paradigm functions, what I call metaphysics. So, let's could you help the viewers try to comprehend how is it that we as a humanity exist in a multidimensional paradigm? Because from where I'm sitting, I'm witnessing the 3D, I'm witnessing the 4D, I'm witnessing the 5D, and the dimensions we don't even talk about, the mineral and plant kingdom, 2nd D, 1st D, we don't even talk about them, and yet they're there, and we're fully conscious of it, and yet we don't even make that connection. We're already living in a multidimensional paradigm where you have free will choice in what vibration you want to live within and how you want to live within that. So how can you explain to people so that they can comprehend more fully? We already live in a multidimensional paradigm, and yet for them they're so confused. How does that work? How can I be 4th density already and my neighbor's 3rd density, and yet I'm still seeing them? I was taught through my spiritual teachings that we would just disappear and people would be invisible and blah 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 blah. So help people to understand that multidimensional paradigm that's already functioning. It's already here. We're already living it. We're already multidimensional.
Well, everything holds its own frequency and its own space-time energetically. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. You can literally touch air in one place and feel an electrical jolt, and in the other place you won't feel it because the energy vibrations are different. And there's different realities of interdimensional existence. Just because you don't see it, doesn't mean it's not there. It might be on another timeline or dimensional gateway frequency. And once you start to open up your mind and to believe in possibilities, you start to see these dimensions because your mind shifts in how you think of these processes. If you only think in 3D, you're going to see 3D. If you think outside the box, and you're like, oh, there's the possibility of 4D. The plant kingdoms are alive. They have their own energy. You believe in that, you open your mind, and you exist on that frequency because you've shifted upward.
So it's not even about going through and facilitating a process of extensive, I need to shift my vibration through such and such. You're coming from the viewpoint that just change your belief. It's that easy. Like, it's not the end all be all. There's a bit, like, we've got the emotional work and things like that we have to be doing as well. But the initial stage of that awareness is stop believing in the impossible and start opening your eyes to magic. There's magic everywhere.
Yes, literally. Start feeling the energy frequency. Start feeling what's around you, not just, okay, this is a solid 3D world and that's it. There's nothing else in my mind but this. If that's how you think there's only 3D, then there is only 3D for you. If you're open-minded and thinking outside the box, oh, what if there's the possibility of something else existing out there that's on a higher vibrational frequency? How do I tap into that? How do I go in that space? Just start asking these questions. What is out there? It's not just me and my reality and my energy. There's other energy frequencies. There's other beings. It's not just humanity. It's not just these humans. Having an open mind opens many different doors to other possibilities. Just even an inkling of an open mind will do it. That's what it was for me. Once upon a time, I was a sleeping being, just walking around doing my job and not worrying about anything, just doing my job, earning a living, eating, roof over my head. And then all of a sudden, I got sick. And I'm like, okay, this is not working for me. Just being in this 3D is not working. What else is out there? How can I help? How can I help myself and others? How can I be healthy? While I can't pop pills, my body rejects every pill I can possibly take to make myself better. So, what else can I do? Okay, homeopathy, naturopathic medicine, plant medicine, changing my food, eating healthy, drinking healthier water, just changing my belief system, my thoughts, my paradigm shift. Change everything. Be healthy. Live. That was it. That was my pivotal awakening. And the rest just followed itself as I discovered more. That's all it was for me. It wasn't anything special. I did study magic. I did study shamanism, Reiki, any kind of energetic work I can get my hands on. It was very interesting and eye-opening. But all of that happened because I chose to think differently and live a different life to save myself. I was told I would die in 10 years if I didn't change my ways, my food, my thought processes. I would die. And I don't want to die. I want to be different. I want to live. I want to make a positive change in the world. So changed my thoughts and just balanced myself better. That's all it was for me. Just a different way of life. Not just me and me and me, but what about others? Help others, do something. Don't just sit there on your chair every day and just, it's me. There's more than me. There's the planet. There's the people. There's beautiful energy everywhere. It's not just me. It's a community. It's a unified community of people helping each other, not just talking about it. Yes, we are talking about it, but we're raising vibrational energies and we're sharing info. Maybe that will inspire others to volunteer, to help, to do what is their passion.
It's all leading us somewhere. And the way I see it is, yeah, I don't want to die in 10 years. That sucks. The more you find out about the multidimensional and the different species, like even our fourth density brothers and sisters that live underground, that are of the human variety, they live like, what, 1,000 years? And it's not even, oh, they've got advanced technology, that's why. No, it's not just the technology, it's their state of being and their choices and their beliefs. I want to live 1,000 years. How can I do that? So, the way I see it, by the time another decade has gone by, we're going to be living in an advanced society already, as I perceive it. It's not going to take long to make that switch around, and eventually our lifespans are going to increase pretty rapidly, exponentially, as I see it. So that's really exciting for me to keep going and not give up and not succumb to the interference and be depressed and fall victim to that, but to just do what I need to do to remain a balance being and assist my human family and move forward. Partially it isn't just service to others, service to others, service to others. I want to have fun. So if I want to have fun, I have to make sure that the rest of my family is having fun too. Otherwise, I can't have fun because I'm too empathic and too caring for everybody. So if everybody's having fun, I get to have fun, and we're all living in advanced, special, awesome, magic place where my greatest dream right now is, yeah, I love helping people and being of service, but my greatest dream right now is having a flying car so I can randomly wander wherever I feel like, whenever I feel like. So the way I see it, being of service to others is also, and essentially, being of service to self. The two go hand in hand. It depends on your perspective. So I want to live 1,000 years. I want to space travel in cool craft. I want to meet my Pleiadian family in person instead of just feeling their energy and communicating in dream time. I want to just sit down with a cup of coffee and be like, hey, how you guys doing? Where'd you just come from? You came from the Pleiades? That's cool. Let's have some dinner together. This is the reality that I live in. This is the reality that I choose to anchor. And this is the reality that I want to share with people. There's so much fun we can be having right now. You don't need to be suffering and just withering away slowly, miserably every day of our lives. You can just make the choice. Make the choice that Elena made. Make the choice that I made. Just start changing your belief system, start educating yourself.
And for me, I don't worry about how long I'll live, whether it be 30 years, 100 years, 1,000 years. I choose to make the best of what I have, what I'm doing right now in my life, and just live it and enjoy it and have fun, follow my dreams, my passions, help out where I can, however I can. And for me, it's not about living 1,000 years or 100 years. I just choose to make the best of what I have now and enjoy it. And if I die tomorrow, I'll be happy because I got to experience so much on this world and learn so much great stuff. I don't worry about dying or about living. I just live and I'm happy in my process. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, the aspect that is the 3D me, the aspect that is the 5D me, the 6D, and on and on and on. Those are all living beings. Me is experiencing life and just being, enjoying the moment and not worrying about when I'll die, what disease I might catch, how healthy I am. I don't worry about that stuff. I just live for the moment, in the moment. And it's a happiness. It's a joy to live and to experience and
The
not worry
funny thing
about.
about that is by living in that reality, that's going to be what enables you to live the longest. Because that's what all of the oldest people on Earth keep telling us. Live in the moment. Be. This is straightforward as it gets. So you'll
Yeah, I'm
probably
not
live a
worried.
long time.
Yeah, I'm not worried about how much money I made yesterday or today or tomorrow, how healthy I am. I don't even worry how healthy I am or how sick I am. I just enjoy my experiences on Earth and the experiences of outside Earth, what I see and do in the higher realms, dimensions, realities, whatever you choose to call it. I'm a star traveler. I travel. I enjoy traveling. Even if I don't leave my seat here and go to Peru or another country, I still travel. I experience other worlds, other planets. I don't need to hop on a plane and travel to Scotland. I can just go there in my light body and enjoy Scotland. Just because I don't physically, hop on a plane doesn't matter. I could still go there and enjoy myself in my light body because I don't place limits in my brain that's not possible. It is possible. And so it is. It just is.
How awesome is that? At any moment in time, it's kind of like, I feel like a vacation right now. Where do I feel like going? I'm going to go to the Canary Islands. You just pop over, chill out, experience it. So while we're on this subject, we've really been rambling on and on. I really love to assist my human family, sort of assisting them in their comprehension of how it works. How do we be? What's going on? That's awesome to help people with that. But I'm curious, not how, what's the most awe-inspiring, sort of heartfelt, heart-opening experience that you've had as the Star Traveler?
Learning to be more humble on this planet and not be egotistical about my life. There's more than just me. There is the isness of all reality and all beings existing. Not focusing just on me, but seeing what else is out there in the universe and experiencing that and sharing it with the rest of the world. Hopping on YouTube, doing the show with you, taking some time to volunteer and do that and not just sit on my chair and watch a TV show. Instead, do an interview with you, do a presentation to just not focus on what's out in the media, what this person is saying, that person is saying. Just try to create a good future to just create balance and happiness. That is my greatest experience. Being humble and not being ego driven. That is learning how to do that. That was my greatest experience and my greatest joy in life to be a good being, to be a humble being, and to not be focused on me all the time. That's humbleness.
That to me is what we call enlightenment, and that is so incredible. Because I mean, you are a star traveler. You just go wherever. You have so many varied experiences. You know, you have so many friends. Basically, the people out there, they're people. I call them people, or beings, or whatever. They're just people from whatever dimension. Out of all of the experiences that you've had, the most enjoying, awe-inspiring experiences is attaining essentially enlightenment and like, living according to that, because that essentially in any species, in any dimension, is truly the most fulfilling, I believe, that we can perceive and experience.
Exactly. And just because I'm a star traveler and I have all of these great experiences meeting other beings, it does not make me any better than any other person walking and living on this earth. I'm just a being here to experience a beautiful reality and to learn stuff. I'm not much better than anybody else. I'm just me experiencing a reality. So, and learning things. Again, this planet is about learning, about experiencing, about embracing realities and learning what you need to learn. This is a playground for learning. That's what this planet is. So enjoy, learn,
Hmm.
experience.
Yep, totally. Yeah, there's a belief that I really take issue with, and I used to be what you would call an indigo and those kinds of labels and beliefs and things where I would get bothered by people that come from a disempowered state of being and speak in a disempowered manner. It used to anger me actually, but not anymore. I've balanced out and dealt with the emotional aspects. But I really have a problem with the concept of superiority and inferiority because not only do we have that belief embedded within our own culture, from wherever it might have stemmed from. It exists in other civilizations and other peoples out there as well. And I take big issue with that. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as superiority. There's no such thing as inferiority. Dependent on what your expression is, you're good at certain things. So what? You're good at certain things. That's awesome. Be good at certain things and enjoy it. I'm good at these things. You're good at those things. That's what makes up a community. Our planet, as a society, as a people, would not function if I wasn't good at things that you weren't good at. That's just how it works. That's part of embodiment and expression outside of source and creation. So there is no superiority. There's no inferiority. There's just you. There's me. I'm being me. You're being you. That's cool. All the power to you. Love, oneness.
Exactly.
We're all equal.
Yeah, and there's no need to compete against each other. Okay, say for example, I have a friend. I'm good at videography. She needs some promo videos for her YouTube business stuff. I'm good at this. I'll go and help her with her videography, and we might do a few interviews together that will benefit the whole community. It's co-creative, equal sharing of your abilities to help each other, to help yourself, to help others. I'm good at this. You're good at this. Let's get together. Let's do something good that will help each other equally. It's not a competition. Okay, I have more equipment than you do, blah, blah, blah. Just because I have more equipment doesn't mean that I'm better at using that equipment than if you have less equipment, but you actually know how to use it. Because you have certain abilities. And where we share information and get together, we can help each other build on those abilities, on our strengths. When we work together and combine our strengths and abilities, we make something great because we chose that co-creative aspect to come together and not compete. We worked equally together and we made something beautiful and great that helped the both of us. And it helped other people in the process. Wonderful, beautiful.
Yeah, it feels good. It just generally feels good. The kinds of lifestyles that we do live within the 3D, they're sort of like when you take the pill, it's a temporary solution. It's like with drugs and all of the vices and things that we have. We don't know any better. So we grow up in a culture where we think this is what good feels like. Um, and it's so limiting. It's so small in comparison to the good that you feel when you connect and when you're just of service and understanding and free flow being and coming from the heart. There's no comparison. Once you tune into that and you feel it even for an instant, like for me personally, I just want more of that. And so I keep researching and learning and expanding and figuring out, well, how can I have more of that? And not only more of that in terms of the same energy, but different energies that feel just like that and cool. And you know what I mean? That's what it's all about. And this is totally what I'm representing, and I want humanity to have as well. It's so awesome to live in this open community. You know, I live in a life that's more in alignment with who I am, and I get to interact with so many amazing people. I get to sit here and talk to you, who you're somebody that's had experience in the secret space program in the 50 and back. You are a light body traveler and have that awareness and capability in being, and that assists me in dissolving my belief system so that I can open up to that and be doing that. So I'm not sitting here looking at you like, oh, you're so lucky, I wish I could do that. I'm sitting here looking at you like you're at that state of ability, and now I want to share that information with people, and I'll get there when I get there, and it'll be fun when I do. It's going to be awesome.
Exactly. And I mean, with the secret space program training, I know how to fire weapons, restricted, non-restricted. I have a collection. I'm armed to the teeth, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to use that against people. It's an interest I still have because of that training. I'm trained in using swords 5 different ways. I have battle axes and swords. Doesn't mean I'm going to run you through with my sword. It's a collection. It's part of my history and what I was trained to use. I have martial arts sticks and I know how to fight with them. Doesn't mean I'm going to beat you up with it. I won't, because right now, as the Elena that is 31 years old, I choose to be more pacifistic and be a pacifist and not use weaponry as a way of, defending myself. This is my territory, my place. I have those things because I'm interested in them. I've recollected how to use them, and I know how. And that's the beauty of rediscovering those memories. I reenacted the process of learning how to use those things. My house is wired with cameras, so I can see what's going on. But that's just so people don't break in. I'm not going to spy on you with those cameras. They're just there for my house to feel more safer. I'm not going to go and use camera A or B to spy on you. That's not why it's there. It's just there to prevent thieves from robbing the place. Why do I have them? Makes me feel a little safer. But I'm not going to spy on you with those things. That's not the purpose of those cameras. So sometimes you ask yourself, well, why did you do that? Why did you learn that? Is it part of a certain memory recall? Oh yeah, I have 5 different wigs hanging in my spiritual closet along with my shamanic drums and rattles. Why do I have those wigs? Because in this secret space program, I was taught to blend in and be a human chameleon, literally, to take on different personalities and to spy on others. I was literally spying. That's what I was trained to do. Doesn't mean I'm going to put on my wig and do that now. It's part of the remembering, the recall, the learning. So yes, I might put on a wig and take a beautiful picture with looking beautiful. This is my hair. It's not perfect. I might put on a wig and look perfect for a moment. Doesn't mean that's me. It's just an aspect of a personality that I learned to be before and that I'm self-expressing in the moment. So
Yeah,
I'm not going
that's a
to skulk around in a wig necessarily at this time, but I have it if I want to be that.
that's a good example to make for people, is understanding that everything is neutral. It's dependent
Yeah.
on your use of it that makes it negative or positive in the dualistic aspects. So you make a good point in that, where the way I see it, you've got warrior training. You know, we need warriors, like light warriors on this planet and warriors within our solar system, to deal with things when they get out of hand. It's of necessity. But when you're a warrior, you're not out looking for a fight. You're an honorable being, and you're educated and wise. It's like the way of the samurai, the Bushido.
Yes.
That you meditate, you connect to your soul, your heart, and you use the sword as a piece of your body to protect, to defend. You know, that's what warrior is. So it's cool that you get to teach, be taught that, and you can teach that to others as well if you want. from going through the secret space program process, because I understand there's a lot of people that do look at the SSP like, oh, there's so much negativity, and the ICC, and all of these people are the cabal people, and they're bloodliners, and they're bad. And I think I try to help people realize is I've met people from the MK Ultra and Monarch programs and the extended versions of those to modern times, and they are actually affiliated with certain what we call cabal family bloodlines and the 13 Illuminati, blah blah blah. These people are actually what you would call bloodliners. Meanwhile, they're actually really cool, heart-based people, but they were born into a culture and what I call a religion. The Illuminati faction, to me, is a very bunch of religious zealots, basically. They're just hardcore in their understanding. So these people are born into this, and they go through torture, they go through rape, they go through experiences where they're forced to kill and maim and get programmed. Um, it doesn't, that's what causes them to be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I try to anchor in a state of peace and an easy transition. I understand that these people don't have easy lives. Like, if you're just an everyday average citizen and you're living a normal life in middle class America, you've got it easy. You've got it really easy. You should be happy about that, utilizing what skill sets you've got to help the rest of humanity. Because these people are literally put through a recreation of hell and back to become capable in what they're capable of. In order to activate certain abilities, certain psychic ability, people are electrocuted with high voltage of electricity for hours and hours on end just to create capacity within them. These are what the people of the cabal, the black magicians, actually go through to have those abilities. So I don't look at them necessarily as the bad people. There's only a small few that have the overall bigger picture. The rest are living in compartmentalized units that are put through complete madness and programmed. And there's people with hundreds and thousands of alters programmed into their psyche, where you just trigger a keyword or a sound or a color or a picture, and they instantly revert into assassin mode. Go kill this person. That's a reality. It happens. I don't look at these people like, you're evil people. You've done such evil things. I look at them like, holy crap, that sucks. How can we get these people out of this situation, rehabilitate them so that they can live peaceful lives? Because I bet you ask most of these people, and they don't want to be doing that stuff. They'd prefer to just be living a peaceful life and enjoying their family lives, because the family lives that they grew up in, they didn't get to have that experience growing up. So how about we help giving them that experience now, later in their life?
Exactly. And as the me right now, I don't like to follow orders. I do not like to follow orders or work in a business class environment, and nobody can force me to do this. Even in the secret space programs, if I didn't like the environment where I was in, I wouldn't necessarily fall in line and follow orders. I would be difficult, and I was difficult. There's only certain things I would agree to do as part of my work in the secret space programs. The linguistic work, the aeronautics work, the informational specialist work. I was where I wanted to be. I couldn't be forced into doing something that I didn't want to do. Don't know why I broke fingers and, body parts in interrogations when I saw ETs. I didn't agree with that necessarily. I don't know why I did it. Don't still have all the memories for that. I did do that stuff, and I'm not proud of it, but I'm openly talking about it because these are memories of things I did. But I refuse to kill people. I refuse to do that. That is against my nature. And I wouldn't do that in the programs. There's certain things I will never do or agree to do because it's not part of who I am or ever was. So there are choices. Even when you're in a compartmentalized mode of being or thinking, you still have a choice to be you, to be a being, to be a sovereign being of your choosing. There's brainwashing, there's false memories, there's all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a genuine being, to be you, you have the right to be that. And nobody should have the right to take that away from you. No one. No matter what
Well,
you're going through.
this is what sharing that information, being able to remember and share the memory and the story of it. It's to show people, you know what, this was our history, but that's what it was, history. We've now got the Secret Space Program Alliance working with the Sphere being Alliance, and working now with the Anshar and the Agarthan, which is the human counterpart. But I know that there's the Pleiadians and others within the Agarthan network. Lemurians here in Peru and in other places, the light cities on the planet. Um, we're turning a new leaf. We're making a new chapter in the history books, because there's some of us that have come from the future and come back, like the L race. They're from the future and they came back. Like the Andromedans followed the timeline back to their ancestry. My Pleiadian family came back to meet up with me since I've been here, because time's faster for them. Um, we've got our history. That's good and all. We can bring it up, focus on it, and transmute that and heal the wounds from it. But we're becoming more peaceful now. You know, we do have positive examples of the secret space program at this point, like with Randy Kramer and his unit, and Corey Good, and now Johnny Alpha's coming forward, and more people. I know I've been aware, you know, through Project Camelot, there's a lot of what we call super soldiers that started coming out in 2000 onward and really getting more vocal about it. They're people, they had the experiences that they had, but now they're choosing to be their genuine human self, and they're assisting us in this process as well to turn a new leaf. And okay, history was history. Now let's create the future. I want to live in peace. I choose to live in peace. I'm not too worried about the medieval ages, so to speak. Because when you look at certain aspects of how we live in our culture and society, you could say that we still technically live in the medieval dark ages. We never really grew up from that. There's only been certain illusions that have put in place that give us a sense of safety, when in certain places it really isn't there. And when you come to places like the jungle and you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you realize how fragile your life is, and that you're on your own, you get to tap into that and realize the situation we're in. So, you know, I have nothing but positive and love and appreciation for the people coming forward as whistleblowers and insiders. And I mean, you've still got people like Snowden, who was still working with the NSA when he took that information and left. And when you're somebody that studies the secret societies and the black projects and all of that aspect of our reality, you realize how ballsy this guy was, how much risk he took to pull that off over a certain extended period in order to get the data downloaded and then safely get out of there. You know, during the time of 9/11, when the Nazi Bush faction pulled that off, that was an era where Snowden wouldn't have made it out of the building. They would have caught him, taken him into an underground building, and gotten all of the data to who he was working with out of him through very horrific means. I mean, you think waterboarding is horrible with the CIA information that came out with Gitmo and all of those places? That's child's play compared to what really goes on behind the scenes. When you've got a military base that's 2 miles underground connected to a hypersonic train network on this planet, and you are not seen by anyone or anything, and you are working with Draconian Empire, you know, you are doing some pretty intense things. Um, and it's going to be a bit rough for people to comprehend that when it comes to the service in terms of disclosure, but it's a necessity. And I hold the space for it to come out and for people to process it and get through the fear and the anger and the sadness of it, so that we can just move forward now.
Yeah, I sometimes get ridiculed for making these presentations about the Andromeda Council, about this information and that. Will I let the ridicule impact me in any way? No. I just delete the comments and go on with what I'm doing. Because why should I feel bad about what I've posted? It's what I know. It's what I've discovered, information that exists out there. I'm not going to hide in my closet and cry just because somebody gave me a bad comment. I just pre-authorize all my comments on YouTube. So if you're saying something nasty and bad, it's not going to filter in through my channel because I'll just delete it. Just saying. I'm not going to hide and cry just because you said something bad about me or a presentation or an interview I did. It's not going to phase me in a bad way or impact my reality in any shape or form. The delete button is there and it gets deleted into trash and doesn't make it on my YouTube channel as a comment. Very simple, just as an example. If it's negative, it doesn't go. It's not your swearing, your blah blah blah, your criticisms. If it's bad, it's not going to go on my YouTube channel. It will be deleted right off the bat. I'm not going to argue with anybody on YouTube about what I said or what I posted. If it's a bad swearing comment or a horrible criticism, you're calling me a Nazi, a liar, whatever, it gets deleted. Goodbye. It doesn't exist in my space because I don't need that or want it on my YouTube channel. Simple
Well,
as that.
you're honoring free will of others by just allowing them to express themselves, but that doesn't mean that you need to respond. We're not
No,
living as reactive beings at this point. We've evolved
no.
beyond that. So you're honoring their free will, you're honoring
Yes.
your free will, and you're creating your boundaries in a self-love environment for people
Yes.
that understand these terminologies and concepts within their spiritual teachings. Now, this
Yeah.
is what sovereign means and represents, and this is what she's explaining. Now, I'm also aware that you've had, the ICC sent an assassin to you, physically to your home, and you just stood in your space and sent them on their way. There's a lot of us in this community that, through various degrees and levels, depending on who you are and what you're involved with, we get attacked. And part of what you were explaining just now goes into that as well. You need to honor free will, but also honor your free will, declare your boundary, really know who you are, stand in your space, and send them packing, essentially.
Yeah. Well, I got attacked again. Not me, but my cat. There is this guy, he's part cobra, part human ET, a hybrid. And I've been doing a lot of these interviews and speaking out and posting presentations about this and that, the ICC, the SSPs. These guys didn't like what I was posting. I was posting too much for their comfort level. So this guy was sent in. His name is Laren. He appeared to me as a beautiful, handsome guy with blonde hair, typical beautiful Nordic ET. He is a Cobra class assassin ET who basically uses poison to attack people that are closest to you. Who did he go after? He went after my beautiful cat, who I really love and my family loves, and it appeared she had third-degree burns on her skin, under her fur. We took her to the vet. The vet's like, there's nothing wrong with her. They did all the blood tests. She has burns. That's what the vet said. Beautiful kitty almost died. And I said, look, do not come and harm my pet. You want to deal with me? You deal directly with me. You do not get to hurt others who are close to me. You just don't. Leave the cat alone. Leave her alone. You want to talk to me? You want to attack me? You deal with me, not the people that I love. Not an innocent creature like that cat who almost died. She almost died. But she got through it. We pulled her through it. We gave her a lot of love, a lot of prayer, good energy. I healed her in the ways that I know of with crystals and Reiki, energy healing. I did what I could. And I told Laren to go away, basically. You don't exist in my line of where I am in my reality. You do not get to hurt others that I love. You do not get to hurt anyone, period, in my existence. Go away. Do not ever come back to my house. You tell them to go away, they have to honor that. They can't just stick around. I told him to leave. He left. As simple as that is. Leave, set protections on your house, use words, use mantras, whatever. Such some shielding. Create some positive shielding around your home, around yourself, around your loved ones, so these assassins cannot hurt you or the ones you love. That's all I did. I didn't fight them. I didn't use weaponry. I didn't, use synergetic zapping. I just told Laren to get out and go away and don't come back. Simple as that. My free will is my will. He does not get to stay in my environment and wreak havoc on me or the ones I love. Simple as that.
That's how easy it is, folks. You just draw your boundary line and know who you are. When you know who you are, you just stand in your presence, you stand in your truth, and you speak it. And like you were saying, there is a free will universe, and there is an honoring of that free will. And like Brad Johnson talks about, check out his YouTube channel. Um, there is the intervention forces in place right now, intervention fleets. If you really feel disempowered and you would like assistance from beings other than your guides, you can specify to call forth an intervention fleet, and they'll just come clear your space. Essentially, that's what's occurring. You know, if there's beings around you and you notice them and you feel that presence, you can have them removed if you want. You can just tell them, not ask, just tell them outright, you know, you need to get out of my space. This is who I am, and I don't want you around. So it's really
Yeah,
great that you had that experience and you get to share that publicly with people and show them. It's really that straightforward at this point. We truly are an empowered people. Um, just do what you feel you need to do in that moment and clear your space.
exactly. You can just tell these negative beings, you do not belong here in my space. You do not get to hurt me or anyone else around me. Get out. Simple as that. Those intentions will most times get them to leave, because if you don't want them there, they can't really be there in your space, sucking your energy. Just tell them, don't do this, don't interfere in my life, get out, and don't come back. Tell them, don't come back, I don't want you here. You can't interfere with me anymore. Free will, free choice. You make your choices.
Yep, and there's different ways to word it and go about it in your comfort levels, in your terminology and language and such, but it's all the same essentially. No, I'm just curious because we've gone, I don't know, I think it's been about 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, we're in no time kind of thing. But I'm just wanting to wrap this up. First of all, you've got a website, you've got a YouTube channel. I'm going to have those posted in the description of this link because you do have a lot of incredible information um, pertaining to different species, different Earth history, technologies. You've got the med bed video out. That's really interesting to witness. So I want to make sure that people get to that and they can view that. Now, I was just wondering if you'd like to delve into sort of current events. I know in chatting before the show, you had mentioned you had met up with some people this week. Would you like to share some of that information? Because they came out recently, I believe. The Time Corp, or what is it called?
Yes, it's called the Time Corp, and they're basically a group that monitors the timelines to make sure that the planet isn't destroyed, that we don't destroy it, that other ET species don't interfere and destroy it. So they go in and they clean up certain timelines to make sure we're still headed where we're supposed to head. Even though bad stuff happens sometimes, it's not the worst stuff that could potentially happen, because these guys monitor everything. And they use basically electromagnetic energy, source field, 0 point energy of the planet to be able to naturally open up space-time portals with their energy, and to go in into time travel, basically back in time, present time, forward in time, to clean up the timelines and to just make sure that we as a species are evolving as we should evolve, to use our abilities to alter time, because there are people who can do that. They have that ability. So that's that's what the Time Corpse does. And they exist outside of normal time space. They exist on the fourth and the fifth dimension, and that's how they do their work.
That's fascinating information because a lot of us are aware that, you know, we've got the star families that delve into the timelines, and the Cabal and their AI technology views timelines and they manipulate. And it, from what many of us are aware of, oh, it's just the star families that are assisting in collapsing the timelines and keeping us on track. But I believe it's more empowering for us to be doing, you know, as humans, the work that we need to be doing. So we do have humanity, whether or not they're our future selves, that are involved in operations to assist in the timeline. We are doing the work ourselves. because a lot of our understanding in the spiritual communities is there's a lot of people, I should say, that sort of focus on, oh, come save us, come save us. Space family, just come land and give us the technology. But part of this process is we need to be doing it ourselves. So it's really awesome to find out that there's our future selves that are already in that awesome timeline, and we've just said, screw it, we're going to go back in time just like the rest of these star families. We're going to do it ourselves. We're just going to monitor our own planet and take care of business.
Yeah, they basically clean house. That's what they do. Anytime somebody has natural abilities to time travel, these guys know about it, and they're monitoring people with these abilities to make sure they don't unlawfully go and change something in the timeline they're not supposed to do. They make sure there's like groups like the Nazis, that they didn't destroy the world. These guys went in too from the Time Corps, and they did put boundaries on even what the Nazis could do and could not do, because the Nazis wanted to rule the world, and in a timeline that happened. But these guys went in and cleaned that up. Yes, World War I happened and World War II happened, but it could have been worse than that, a lot worse. These guys just basically cleaned it up to a certain acceptable degree where the whole planet wasn't blown up. So that's what they do. They just, hey, if you want to time travel, you need authorization to do it. Can't just say, I want to go there, I want to see that. It is monitored. That's what these guys do. They basically authorize who gets to go and who doesn't, and for what purposes and means. If you want to do bad stuff, they won't let you. They just won't. Even if you have natural abilities to time travel, there'll be a buffer on your abilities. You can't go and cause havoc in another reality and ruin stuff. Just can't do that.
So you say that they clean up, they take care of business. So they dealt with the Nazi timeline. So would you say that in recent history they're dealing with the breakaway German civilization? We call them the ICC, part of the SSP Foundation. So would you say that they're actually monitoring them as well, and making sure that they're not manipulating the timeline any further? They're sort of curbing the damage, and then allowing those of us that are boots on the ground in this timeline to proceed with the rest of it. They're just making sure that it doesn't go into the red zone, so to speak, by manipulating and subtly changing.
Yeah, they're making sure we don't go into the red zone where we're about to, annihilate each other as a species, whether it's on Earth or on Mars. They are buffering these groups to a certain degree so they can't step out too much against the boundaries where they blow up planets or they blow up civilizations. That's how they're monitoring the timeline, so we don't self-annihilate each other, and make our planet uninhabitable. They're basically curbing those types of events, human man-made nuclear disasters. They're monitoring that to stop that from happening, just like certain UFOs hover over nuclear plants and they disable the nuclear plant so they can't fire off that or this. These guys do the same. They're the Time Corps. They just go back where they need to go and mitigate the chaos, the destruction, so you don't blow yourself up.
It's just wonderful to know, because I'm all about empowerment, and I see and anchor in the potential of humanity, and I have so much love for Mother Earth and our human family. So I love the fact that we're doing it. We're the Time Corps. So it's showing people that we have the power. We have the power right now because we have the assistance from our future selves and our own selves in this moment. We do have assistance, but for those of us that are boots on the ground, we're here to make the change. We're here to do it. And it's great to share examples to make people aware that we have the power. We are doing this. You don't need somebody to come and hold our hand and teach us how to be an evolved society or civilization. We have all of the capacity and knowledge and wherewithal within ourselves to just be it and do it and get on with it, which is what we're doing now, and it's really beginning to pick up steam. There's many of our star families that are looking at us in complete awe. Like, man, I wish I had that creative potential. I wish I had the capacity. How are they problem solving in such rapid rapidity? There's manufacturing plants basically on Mars where they're manufacturing advanced, technologies that we've gotten through different treaties, et cetera, and reverse engineered, blah 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 blah. Meanwhile, you've got 900 plus species that are coming from all over the galaxy and the known universe, and maybe the multiverse. They're literally coming to us in our solar system and saying, "Hey, I want that technology. That's the most advanced technology around town," and it's humans, it's us making it. That's how capable we are. Imagine if we weren't being manipulated to do things essentially in a negative format and switch over to a positive. How rapidly we would just completely alter this whole solar system, just make it awesome to live with, and we're already that advanced. It's just a matter of becoming aware of it and stepping into that.
Well, the ICC, they're not just involved in making advanced exotic technology, they're also trying to push forth transhumanism. What they're doing on 4 of the Mars plants and bases is that they have unwilling humans who they've integrated with cyborg technology, and they've used them against their will to transfer, almost to try to transfer the soul into the cyborg being. And they're using body parts, they're killing people using body parts to make these cyborgs to try to do the transhumanism bit, incorporate man and machine together and see what you get. They're trying to play God with that, and they're doing it. But that stuff is being watched and looked at and monitored by Time Corps and other ETs. Because what they're doing is basically, again, going against human rights laws. On Mars, human rights don't exist. Human rights laws don't exist. Like on Earth, they exist to a certain point, and it's more transparent. On Mars, it's like free for all, because these guys are there. They're on Mars. They're not being watched by the government from Earth. They have their own government. And they're also making this pulsar technology and scalar technology that can destroy planets, literally, by just dropping this thing. So they're creating stuff that's not so good. But in the end, they'll be held accountable for that, what they're doing off-world, behind our eyes. All of that will come out eventually in disclosure. So they won't be able to get away with it either. They're doing that now, but doesn't mean they'll be able to do that in the future. At some point, it has to stop the violation of human rights and laws. Even human societies on other planets have to be accountable for that. The ICC, the SSPs, they have to be accountable for that stuff and be transparent, just like all the rest of us are. It'll come out. It all will come out what they're doing. You can't hold that anymore. You can't hide it, so to speak, as the truth does come out eventually. So,
It's
hopefully
good to be
sooner than
aware
later.
of it. Hopefully sooner than later for sure. I'm definitely anchoring that in place and assisting in that process. We all are. So it's good to be aware of it, but also, like you say, there's the Time Corp, there's our allies in space, there's the SSP Alliance, there's now the Anshar Alliance, which is getting a bit more active from the Agartha network to assist humanity in their development and maturation process. So, we are in a good space as I perceive it. We aren't in the red zone. We're not going to get to that point. We're not going to see World War III in the stuff that's being hyped up and fed to us from the controlled mass media. We're just not going to witness it. It's not our reality. It's not where we're going. It's certainly not the reality that I choose as an empowered individual, and it's not the reality that I choose for my entire planet of human family, as well as Mother Earth, who I care for dearly. So I'm just not doing that. I'm not putting my focus or energy into that. I'm not supporting it. We're moving away from that. So more and more is being exposed, more and more are being educated, and more of the cabal's power is being taken away through what I can only describe as pincer movements. I mean, even just on the planet in terms of the geopolitical arena, with the White Dragon Society, the different dragon families, the different secret societies. Not all of them are negative. There's certain in between and then more positive groups where you're seeing the financial warfare that's occurring. You're seeing the drug trade that's starting to be altered, and the oil trade is being shifted in a way where basically all of these religious zealot factions that are still left that are just completely out for blood. All of their resources are slowly being siphoned off in what I consider to be a high-level militaristic pincer move, where it's classic military tactics: cut off the supply to these people and let them wither. And it's to reach the point that we're reaching, where you've got President Obama discussing certain things about alien information in a recent report he put out, and Hillary Clinton is trying to literally utilize the popularity of the disclosure movement to try to get voted in, which is really hilarious to watch. We are in a really good standing as a human race on this planet at this point. So I see nothing but good things for the future. Like we were discussing in the beginning of this with the September, getting into the what is
Photon
it?
Belt.
The Photon Belt. Yeah, that stuff is beyond me metaphysically. Oh man, that's high science. But
Well,
just getting into that belt, yeah, explain to us, really what that represents to show people we really are close right now.
well, scientists have actually found that there's this like an energy cloud that's called the photon belt, and this was discovered in the 1970s, 80s. So the belt exists, and we as a planet are traveling in the solar system, coming close to the center of this photon belt, this electromagnetic energy force. And once we enter into this belt, we will literally might feel some electronic disruption in the electromagnetic energy of the planet, of technology. We might feel this. It'll feel like an electrical burst, like bzz, somebody zapped you. You start to remember stuff. You start to do things that you usually don't do, change your lifestyle, just change the way you think, have more disclosure come out. It's because you're in this energy field that's literally trying to push everything outward and change everything. That's what the belt energy is, this photon belt. It's electricity, it's very intense electricity. It's like a quantum leap in universal balance, evolution, quantum evolutionary leap out in space that our planet is going towards. So it's quite fascinating, and there's a lot of stuff that could happen on the metaphysical level. Like people could suddenly get psionic abilities. You ask the universe a question, you get an answer back. You don't have to even think about it. That's one of the things that could happen. Remote viewing. You don't know what you're doing, you're just doing it. So that's something that's in the metaphysical realms that this energy source is doing, that we're going to enter probably in September and onwards to October, November. So it's quite interesting what's going on. And it's like wave X energy, same type of idea. You can call it whatever you want. Photon belt, wave X. You're basically entering a source field of energy that causes quantum evolution on a mass scale in the Milky Way galaxy. It's basically what it is. And it evolves you, it evolves the space around you. It's basically evolution, organic evolution.
Yeah, essentially, we're right at the tipping point as I perceive it, and sense it and feel it within the collective. I feel the collective shifting and all of that intensity coming out and purging, and I'm going through my own process as well within that. But there's also the potentiality that's coming and the feeling signature of that, where as I perceive it, it's a wave of excitement coming towards us, because this wave is representative of really activating humanity and getting us into our potential and sovereignty and really moving forward. So to be witnessing what we're witnessing on the planet right now within the grassroots communities, within every one of these communities that's moving us forward, to then have this wave hit in 4 months from now. I believe 4 months, is like we're about to be hit with a quantum leap. What is that going to do on a human scale? Do you perceive? Do you have contacts that have the ability to read the energetic data? I know there's certain like Palladian scout crafts or Palladian ships where they all they do in our solar system is observe the energy signature of humanity, and they're like, okay, the light quotient of Earth is at 50% right now, and they have an understanding of the potentiality of that. Are there beings that you're in contact with that sort of have a readout of what the potentiality is of when this wave hits?
Yes, the L race, they're time travelers themselves. They're 13,000 years from the future. So this wave, as they call it, is virtually and physically a quantum leap in evolution, like massive evolution. One day you're thinking this, the next day you're thinking that. NET become a normal standard in your paradigm shift. The government suddenly says, oh, ETs are real. They've been coming here. It's like this wave has the potential to literally alter realities and shift reality. Where one day you were this and thinking this, next tomorrow you wake up with this whole new paradigm existence of where your thinking is more open. You suddenly have abilities you never thought you had that have been triggered in your awakening process. I think what this way will do is awaken a lot more people and bring a lot more disclosure to the surface of stuff coming out, more information coming out, literally. This way will amplify that, where people will want justice. They'll want to know the truth. They'll be more open-minded to that. That's what the photon belt energy is. And the timeline's just becoming more solid, more balanced, and heading in the right direction where the collective wants to go in its tipping point. Solidifying the timeline, anchoring it. That's what this energy is. And nobody has seen it in 250 million years. So it's coming full circle. It's coming back. And it's
That's a big
interesting.
number to throw out there. Oh, we haven't seen it in 250 billion years. Here it comes. You wonder
Yeah.
why there's so many different people watching us with popcorn in their spacecraft right now at the Oort cloud. They're just sat there like, yo, it's gonna hit, it's gonna hit, it's gonna hit. Oh shit. Like literally, I was communicating with Horace through my friend Hezekiah the other day on my previous show, and Horace was just saying, "Do you know how? Do you have any idea how many beings are just watching you, cheering you on right now? Have any idea? There's too many to count. There's just beings showing up because they're reading the energy signatures and they're like, what's going on? And they're just coming into this crowded space where there's thousands upon thousands of different craft hanging around the Oort cloud and cloaked within our solar system, and they're just kind of like, what's going on here, man? The new guys show up from the Andromedan galaxy, our sister galaxy, and they're just like, what's going on? The Palladians are like, oh, this is what's going on. Here's some information. Watch this. Get some popcorn. This is awesome. And they're just watching us, cheering it on, and we're sat here like, oh my god, it's so hard, I'm dragging my feet, and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, at any point in time, imagine if you were open to that love, if you just open yourself up, like, feel the love that's pouring into Earth. Seriously, there's a lot of it. Just go out in Father's Son and sit there in the sun and just allow your heart to open and feel that, and it's like, whoa, I've not felt that kind of love before. What is that? Where's that coming from? That's from thousands of different species that are just sat there watching us in complete awe.
Feel the healing energy healing you so that you don't feel sick anymore. That's another aspect of this energy coming in. It'll literally change the paradigm shift of what we're going here through on Earth. It will balance the scales, and it will reveal a lot of truth that's been suppressed for a long time. So it's Brad Johnson and Adronis have been talking about this, and they're going to have their own show talking webinar about all these changes out in the universe. They're going to be talking about it tomorrow, 12 Pacific time. So the intervention fleets, all of this is a culmination point coming together. as one central thing. And we're in it. We're in this universal paradigm of change and shift. Our Earth traveling into the Photon Belt, the energy's coming in, us evolving as a species, going into galactic species instead of just 3D species. It's all just coming together. It is what it's meant to be. So it's a balance. It's a shift. It's a new evolutionary shift. Doesn't matter if you call it ascension, evolution. It's a shift. It's a paradigm shift. It's a quantum leap. Call it whatever you want. It's change, literally change.
It's something to be excited about, folks. Basically, imagine all the hype of December 21st, 2012, and put it December 2016, and you'll get an idea of what we're going into. If you're not already energy sensitive, you can't already feel the energy. Um, Hell, you're going to be feeling it in September, October, because it's just going to wake you up to those energy sensitivities. But for the people that feel it beforehand, here's the clarion call as I see it. It's kind of time to ground yourself, take care of any loose ends, and get ready to not have to, but get ready to sit down with your family and help explain these situations to people. Because, once this wave hits, it's going to hit energetically. It's going to take a bit of time to peter down into the physical. And then you're just going to start seeing data dumps happening. Disclosure isn't necessarily going to be one moment. We're not necessarily going to have an event where in one day you're witnessing mass arrests and the banks shut down, and then they come back online sometime later, and there's a new financial system and global currency reset and all of that stuff. We could very well be witnessing a slow burn process where it's a mixture of what the SSP and the others are calling the partial disclosure, but it's going to turn into and snowball into the full disclosure, where you're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger data dumps. There's going to continue to be the financial shifting through the BRICS nations and the dragon families behind the scenes. It's just going to keep coming. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And because of this wave hitting, it's going to get it to the point where we're just going to be seeing it in the public arena. At the end of 2016, you'll see it more and more. And then from what I'm feeling and perceiving, and from all of this incredible information that so many of us out there are sharing, 2017 is going to be where people are activated, they're going to be turned on, they're going to be learning their abilities a bit better. And there's just that wave of transparency that's about to hit where you are going to see governments coming out and just explaining what was going on, and just journalists are going to be given a bit more liberal freedoms like we're seeing in Russia is happening for them. We're already seeing the examples of this occurring, but in smaller doses. And it's going to just keep getting bigger and bigger and building and building and building until eventually we look back at it and go, wow, that was interesting. That was a lot of fun. Okay, I've got a flying car now. All right, that's all good. This is how I perceive it. It's just going to keep. It's like that gradual process where you take baby steps. You keep taking that step, and before you know it, you're in a new reality on a
Yeah,
global scale.
yeah, and it's like when you look back at this in Earth history, it will be one of the most exciting historical events that ever happened, where people found out the truth about galactic history, about themselves. So many revelations. That's what these waves do. Wave X, Photon Belt. It's about revelations, about illuminating what's being hidden, putting it out in the open arena, public arena, about teaching, about illuminating, about finding the truth. That's going to be world history. One day somebody will look back at this and say, hey, that was the most interesting time in Earth history. Man, I was there to witness this. I saw this. I was part of history. So, and other ETs are watching history being made. So for them, it's interesting too. Most of us don't even realize that it's happening to us. We're just here going about our business, doing our stuff. To us, it'll be history. And it'll be, wow, I was there for it. Incredible. Can't believe it happened.
Yeah, I look forward to what's coming. I'm already having a lot of fun with what I'm experiencing and witnessing, just because I choose to follow certain information trails. Definitely Adronis and Brad Sorensen. He's getting a lot more proactive in disclosure. You've got a monthly show that you do with him now, where you've got you, Randy Kramer, Johnny Alpha is going to be another guest coming up. It's a roundtable, basically a secret space program roundtable discussion where you've got these insiders coming forward. They're not only sharing the memories that they've got and that are coming back further and further into their recollection, they're sharing up-to-date information about the operations going on from what they're involved with in the groups that they're connected to. Definitely, Corey Good is another one. If you're interested, check out Gaia.com. Corey Good's, it's called Cosmic Disclosure. I've watched that from the beginning up to now and keep paying attention to it. There's so much history and an explanation that gives you the foundational knowledge that helps you understand what's occurring right now. And once you have that foundation, you can see the signs and put the pieces together so that you can basically you're following along with the dialogue of the evolution occurring in real time, which for me is a lot of fun. The geopolitical and exopolitical arenas are just hot topics, so it's just exciting to be able to witness it in real time happening and playing out, and
Yeah,
then to get to that point and being able to put, fill in the blanks because there's just so much occurring right now. We can't keep up with all of it.
yeah. And I mean, what I'm going to be doing on the June 26th show with Brad Johnson about the secret space programs, I'm literally going to be physically transforming myself and how I look in my appearance, and the wig will come out of the spiritual closet. Literally, I will make myself look different for that show as an example of explaining something about a facet of the secret space program. So this is not how it's going to look like. It's just part of an example for the show of how that stuff works, how physical transformation is possible through certain training. All it takes is a wig and different mascara, and you look different. Transformationally wise, you don't need to be injected with alien DNA to look different. It's quite possible to do it with human tools. So it's just certain training and certain, put on some makeup, put on some different clothes, put on a wig, you look different. You're a totally different personality and how people perceive you. That's the training I was given in the SSPs. How I can transform myself and look different and blend in into society and spy. So literally, I'm going to demonstrate that.
And I believe that Corey Good has recently come out with information in one of his cosmic disclosure shows where he calls them, I believe, metamorphs or something.
Metamorphs or
Yeah,
mesomorphs. Yes.
yeah, and that's incredible to be able to share that example and to know that you've got that training. That's not that's some serious training. That's incredible stuff to have that capacity, um, and that would help people to become more cognizant of it because I believe that that's happening in our politics, especially with the false flags that go on. A lot more information is coming forward in terms of the crisis actors, and people keep spotting the same damn crisis actor. So being aware of the Metamorph program and extrapolating the implications of that will help you catch out on Earth what the Cabal operations and what they're doing in the mainstream media and some of their tricks that they play.
Yeah, I'm literally used to being plain Jane, looking plain without makeup, just my normal crazy wacky hair, normal clothing. That's how I appear in shows and that's how I am in real life, but I do have about 5 to 10 wigs hanging in the spiritual closet from remembering all this training, and I had no idea why I got these wigs, had no idea. I just enjoyed putting on a wig and playing out a different role, a different personality for an hour or two, going out into society and not being recognized for Elena Kapolnik. I just was literally a different person. So that aspect of me is still there. I choose not to do that every day of my life, but I will be showing that as an example in a show because it's part of my secret space program talk. I'll wear different clothes, I'll put on makeup, I'll put on a wig, and you'll see a transformation. That's literally what it is, to just demonstrate what it is to metamorph yourself into something else temporarily, and then you go back to your normal self afterwards. Because you don't want to be walking around in a wig all the time. It gets too hot. It's just an example that I'll be doing to see what's possible.
It's always cool though to get the roundtable discussions going where you've got the different perspectives from the different people like flying around the room. And when you're able to read into the data and use your intuition and discernment, there's so much implicated in it. There's so many pieces in there. You just have to be willing to open yourself up, tune into it, and understand what they're giving you. Because there's a lot of hints that can be given. There's a lot of information that will just you read a report about something going on the planet, and all of a sudden you come across a synchronicity. Somebody says something, and it connects the dot for you. So I have so much fun following what I call the breadcrumb trail or the synchronicity trail.
Yeah, me too. And, asking questions. Well, why is she all of a sudden changing her appearance and wearing a wig and different clothing and makeup in this show when she never looks like this on shows? Why is she doing that? That would be the first question I would ask if I saw somebody doing that, going out of character and not acting like themselves. Well, I'm doing it as an example. That's not everyday me. That's not how I look. That's not how I function. It's just an example of learning. To me doing that, I don't even feel comfortable doing that, but I'll do it because that's the topic I'll be talking about. So I actually want to not just tell, but do a show about it. Literally, show and tell, so to speak, to give it as an example of how this topic looks like. Not just me talking about it, but demonstrating it as well. That's the best way I can describe it. Follow the breadcrumbs. Ask questions. Why, who, where, when, what. That's all important, especially right now, and all the reports that are coming out. Use your own intuition. Use your own discernment to find your truth. Don't just trust what you read and see. Double check your sources. Go to alternative media, not just the TV. Look at what others are saying and doing. Double check your facts and sources to get to your truth.
It's what I call comparative research. I learned that by studying through the Theosophical Society. A lot of their literature, I was reading through that in my early days of research. And the one thing that I can take from it, regardless of the distortion that exists within it and the truths that exist within it, it's kind of always a mixed bag when you get into secret society and the esoteric information. It's sort of meant to draw you in certain directions and stuff. But what I truly got out of it was the ability to look at information as a whole until you look at something as a whole and get a general round your head view of it. You can't even discern it yet. You can't put a judgment on it. And you've got to look at all of the data as a comparative narrative in order to get a discernment from it and then get something from it and go, okay, this is what's going on. This is what I believe. Now, how about I get on with my community and I seek counsel and I talk it out and interact and see where this thought process goes and see what information comes up. Because part of the awakening process is doing your own research and then coming together in platforms like Hangouts on Google or wherever and sharing your information, and then all of a sudden you trigger a memory in somebody on a soul level and they say it, or they get this intuition and they say it, and then it triggers something in you. Before you know it, a few hours go by, you're heavy into this conversation and all of these triggers are your brain is firing off and you're just like, whoa, I just remembered a past life, or I just realized what's going on and I'm not afraid of it anymore. That's part of the awakening process. It's something I heavily support and suggest people do.
Yeah, like for me, a good example of that, getting a confirmation and in remembrance, was the previous interview with Brad and Randy Kramer and me, where Randy was talking about the holographic medical pods, or the holographic medical beds that he calls them. I remembered bits and pieces about those holographic beds, how they were made, designed, what they did, but I didn't quite remember all of it. And I just called some of the parts thingies because I didn't remember how it was called. But because of what Randy said and talked about them, it it triggered a lot of memories for me. And what I called thingies were no longer thingies, but I knew the actual parts of what it was. And I decided to do a presentation about it. And Corey Good picked it up on Sphere Being Alliance on his Facebook page, and it went viral, literally. That presentation that I did. I didn't do it to be famous. I didn't do it to be a whistleblower. I just remembered. And that's the info I put out. Sure, there's also info about it in the movie Elysium and Prometheus. Those beds are very popular in those movies. There's also something called the Meditech unit, which is a portable, smaller medical pod that does basic healing on you. You know, like on the go. If you're the ground crew boots, so to speak, and you've been injured, you're placed in this little Meditech pod, and it heals basic injuries. How did I know about that information? I read a romance book about it when I was 15, and I wasn't even fully awakened to whole ET stuff and my travels as the Stars Traveler. I read the stuff about the Meditech beds in a romance book about other planets. I got disclosure from a romance book. There's a lot of disclosure in places
Of
you
all
least expect
places,
it.
yeah, exactly. You'd never think that. Like, it's a romance novel. It's just, and next thing you know, oh, there's disclosure. And I'm fascinated with the science fiction community and the sheer amount of disclosure that comes out. Like, I got, when I was younger, into the fantasy RPG games, with all of the different species and races, because it draws memories out of us. I mean, I personally believe that's why so many of us get addicted to these medias and these cultures, is because it's bringing memory out in us, and we're having emotional memory that's attached to that memory, and so we get emotionally attached to the thing that we love because it's causing us to remember. So science fiction and the fantasy and the video game industry is bringing that out in us. We're remembering our existences within the multiverse and just going, and we're just attached to it. Because it's such a beautiful thing. So it's gonna be awesome when we do have disclosure. You're gonna have all of these people that grew up playing video games like that was in that video game. The whole video game was just that. Did you guys know what was going on? Did you just make that up? It's gonna be hilarious to witness it.
Well, it's likely like the people who are making these video games and TV shows and movies that have the sci-fi tech, they're in the know. Those are people in the know who are making these things. They're doing disclosure. They're calling it sci-fi, but somewhere this stuff already exists, but they're calling it sci-fi. It's already in a secret reality in the SSP program or the ICC. That stuff is being used already, that technology. The med beds, the meditechs, med pots, whatever you call them, they're already in use somewhere. Either in the secret bases on Earth, on Mars, on ships in the Oort cloud. It's being used. It's tech that's already in use. They're just calling it sci-fi or fiction. Hey, actually, physical life is weirder than fiction. So
It is, yeah. It's once you start delving into the multidimensional reality and the history of Earth and all of that, it's like I can't even enjoy science fiction like I used to anymore because, instead of me sitting around trying to find a TV series that's interesting to watch that's sci-fi based, I'm on YouTube trying to find disclosure information because it's a lot more interesting and exciting.
yeah, exactly. I just watched a show called The Ice Planet yesterday on YouTube, and it was an amazing show. It was just about these beings, these humans going outside their own solar system, outside their own comfort level, and discovering all this ancient technology that helped save the human race from an ET invasion. So it was quite interesting. And sometimes you can find beautiful movies on YouTube, not just on your TV. So it's amazing what you can find out there when you start looking for it.
There's a meme going around on Facebook I've noticed, and it's basically stating what is the first step to you awakening, and it shows a picture of somebody throwing a TV out the window. I would probably agree with that. I haven't watched television in several years. I don't own a television. Most people I interact with don't own a television. We don't. We're not connected anymore. We disconnected from the matrix.
Well, guess what? Your computer is your new television. Your smartphone is your new television. Your YouTube is your new television, your alternative source of news media. I call YouTube the boob tube because it's literally a boob tube where you can watch stuff on. A lot of stuff. So for me, it's all amusing. The boob tube. I get to post my videos and my interviews and my presentations on the lovely boob tube, and anyone out there can look at it and say, hey, I like this or I don't, and that's okay. It was posted on the boob tube. Great.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about that, though, is the difference between the television versus the internet ability is the fact that you can choose what you're watching. You're not going to see Gaiam.com is like a TV channel, but it isn't. It's on the internet. You can't
Yeah.
get it on cable anywhere. You can't get information like that on cable TV at all. You don't even have the choice or the option. It doesn't exist. So that's the benefit to having the smartphone and the computer. Is at least you can make that choice and have that ability to educate and become aware.
Well, at least Ancient Aliens is on History Channel, on History 2 channel, where anybody can watch it on cable if you're still watching cable on your TV. Ancient Aliens is a great way of learning about ancient aliens and some disclosure too. I find it fascinating, and I've been watching that for like a year now. For me, it's close. It's as close as Gaim you can get, and it's more broad based. And the company who puts it out is called Prometheus, actually. So it's got to ask yourself what's behind that name. Um, Ancient Aliens is doing more disclosure now than they've ever done. They're going more Gaim format style. And hey, Laura Eisenhower is going to be on Ancient Aliens. That's something special.
Yeah, because
So
I've been aware of Laura Eisenhower since like 2011, 12. Project Camelot, or I was watching Project Camelot in 2009. For anyone who doesn't know, Project Camelot was basically two people that got together and were sitting down with basically whistleblowers, insiders, experiencers, spiritual people, whatever. And from about 2006 till about 2009 or 10, they were getting what I found to be the most up-to-date, open exposure of all of these topics in that time frame. And you've got people like Laura Eisenhower, who's like the granddaughter of the President Eisenhower, whatever his name is. I'm not American, I'm Canadian. I don't remember history that well.
I think it
But
was Ike
yeah,
Eisenhower.
that's his name. But you were right. She is like one of the most outspoken activists right now within the community doing her work. I recently read an article where she was in one of the something in the desert places, like David Wilcock and Corey Good and a bunch of the guys are there. And somebody asked her a question about chemtrails or disclosure or something. And she was just like, "F the government," like just outright, like enough's enough. Tired of this. We're just gonna do it ourselves. Screw you guys. So to have her on the History Channel on cable television discussing ancient aliens, I think she's gonna blow some heads if they don't cut it and they're not censoring as much. Because if you're aware of David Wilcock's information and you follow his stuff, he's a regular on ancient aliens, and he even tells you himself they cut out a lot of information that they're just not allowed to air at this point. So to have your confirmation that they're allowing more information to come through in the recent seasons is a really good sign. And it's a really good thing to get that seeded into the general public's awareness.
Yeah, I mean, well, David Wilcock is really good friends with Corey Good. So David, stays in the know about this stuff. And David knows a lot of other whistleblowers and insiders from the programs. So David Wilcock does have a lot of influence on Ancient Aliens and other shows that he's part of. because he knows a lot of this stuff. He has insider knowledge about it. And he chooses to share it with people, just as Corey Good. And we're trying the format of Project Camelot, just in smaller grassroots interviews, what we're doing now. This, to me, this equals Project Camelot, just on a smaller scale. Our interview together, putting it out on YouTube, because Project Camelot also put their interviews out on YouTube. So we're doing the grassroots disclosure, the movement, we're just putting out information. And it's great that we're not being taken off air and that our discussion will be put up on YouTube for the whole world to see. If you want to see it, you can. If you don't, that's okay. Follow your intuition, follow your passion, follow your truth, and be happy.
Yeah, the whole point of us coming forward is that there's one size fits all. There's something for everybody. The people that feel called to follow this information and understand where I'm coming from, my energy, and they get something from it, will do so. The ones that don't get it will go somewhere else, and they'll find their path through another method. And that's the point. It's not to be famous. It's not to try to get followers. It's not to try to get out there and be like, I want to be a YouTube star. It's not about that. It's just each one of us is playing our role on this planet, which is facilitating the evolution of humanity. And it's just fun and exciting in and of itself to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I hide all my favorites or dislike stats on YouTube in my videos. And for half of the time that I had my YouTube channel, I disconnected the feature where you can see how many subscribers I have. I wanted people to see the videos for the videos, not how much other people saw them. And the stats of, she has this many subscribers, she has this many viewers. For me, it's not about that. It's not about the fame. I'm just doing my part in putting out information. That's all I'm doing. I don't care how famous I am on the boob tube or how not famous I am. That's not what I'm doing. I don't care about that stuff. And I'll interview people who I think know the info. I know what they're talking about. I don't care how much subscribers they have, how much videos they put out. That's not what this is all about. It's just about being here present in the moment and doing what we're supposed to do, what we're meant to do as the ground crew, the boots on the planet, so to speak.
All right, Elena, this has been a wonderful show. I thank you so much for being my guest and sharing the
Thank
time
you.
and space with us all. I'd like to wrap this show up now and tend to my body because it says it wants food and the tummy is boss.
Yes, of course. My mouth says, "Give me some water." You've talked for 3 hours straight in a row. That's an accomplishment. Now go sustain yourself or nurture yourself.
It's all living in the flow. So
Yes,
again, thank you.
yes.
Thank you, viewers, for watching this. Please share it. If you feel called to do so, Elena, I'll have your links posted in the description so that people can find more of your information. It's very assisting in people's development and education. So, thank you all. Until next time, have a good one.
Peace. Bye.